What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode. Thank you all for being here. This is going to be your astrological monthly forecast slash horoscopes for the fourth month of 2026, April. Thank you all for being here. I am super excited to be doing another episode. I've been loving doing this stuff. I say this in every video, but I really appreciate all y'all. I appreciate all the comments that I've been getting. And just everything it just feels cool. We have a lot to talk about in the month of April. This is gonna be a huge jam-packed month, guys. So kind of first of all, let's just wanted to say thank you. You can see I have a new kind of setup here. I got a background. I kind of moved all my stuff out of that little room I was in out into my living room. I think I could work this out. There's another reason why I kind of did this, because I've also been doing lives on TikTok, and I kind of have like a better setup out in my living room than I did out there. Just been trying to just try new things, and then I think I can work with this stuff. So I kind of have the astrology decorations in the background with the lights. So I think I can work this out. What do you guys think about this? But that's another thing. That's another reason why I kind of did this. But yeah, I think this actually looks kind of better. It is, something new. And kind of to bring that energy, that newness energy is kind of what we are going to be talking about. So it kind of just fits into the whole general vibe. So I just wanted to add that and kind of describe what's going on there. But my name is Cody, or you can call me Codifer if you are new here. I'm an astrologer. I've been doing these videos for many, many years now at this point. I love doing these horoscopes. I don't know, it means a lot to me that I can share this content with you guys and, try to at least help you guys, navigate through, navigate and try to understand just our normal, daily routines, daily lives and the world and stuff like that. And another thing about the world stance of how you look at astrology and then look at the world. There's a lot of stuff that we will be talking about in this video, because it's kind of exactly, there's a lot of exact things that I have been talking about that actually has been going on in the world stance. So I don't know, kind of a little description there. But yeah, if you are excited to jump into this, thank you for being here, guys. You have no idea how what this means and how this feels. It's the best feeling ever, and I love to do this. I want to continue to do this. I really hope you guys will enjoy this little this next episode that I'm releasing. So let's just kind of jump into it. I know that's kind of a I don't know, longer intro or whatever that, but let's just kind of jump into the main things. This is April 2026. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already before we jump into the, because hook your boy up. I would appreciate it. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, thank you guys. I just want to, I've already gotten like a lot more, subscribers on YouTube, and it just makes me feel so blessed, and I love and appreciate every single one of you. And I can't wait to just, see how this continues and stuff like that. So I just wanted to add that. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe. I'm your guy. I'm Codifer. Let's jump into the main highlights for April. There's not many highlights. I kind of basically like 7. But this, like I said, guys, this is a jam-packed month. There is this huge Aries Stellium party, whatever you want to call it, building up as we go through the whole month. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on this month, guys. There is, like I said, there's just so much newness in the air for April. We have a full moon in Libra on the first day of the month. Mars is entering its home sign of Aries. It's leaving Pisces. It's entering Aries. It's getting energized. It's going to get charged up. We have Mercury following Mars into Aries, leaving that 2-month period that it's been in Pisces since like February. So that's a huge shift right there, guys. We also have a new moon to plant the seeds of this, adding another layer of this newness, guys. So there's a new moon in Aries, and then after that, the sun will enter Taurus. Taurus season begins. Venus and Uranus will enter the sign of Gemini, and there's a lot to talk about there, guys, and that's kind of what I was talking about, mentioning about a lot going on in April, so just bear with me, guys, bear with me. This is going to be your astrological, monthly overview, but before we get that, I like to do some advertisements and stuff like that. So if you want to follow me on any social media besides YouTube, I am mainly active on Instagram. Just follow me, Codifer, or Codifer Version, whatever you want. This is my platform. This is like my daily normal thing. Like I said, I've been kind of jumping on these TikTok lives, and they've been on unbelievable. I've been watching wrestling. I'm hoping I can continue doing that because it's been really fun to do that. I share my merch sales. I'm gaming on these TikTok lives as well. I'm sharing these little I do a bunch of stuff, guys. You know what I do. I say this in every month, guys. So this is kind of just my Instagram page if you want to just follow me, Codifer. The links I wanted to talk to you about, guys. Not only am I on Instagram and Facebook, yeah, whatever. Not only am I on Instagram or YouTube, I have a Patreon. If you guys haven't noted, I say this in every single video. I'm gonna actually show you guys that because I feel like I want to at least promote my Patreon because I do have a Patreon page. Like I said, I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. If you want to follow me, screenshot this. If you want to just find, my little links or whatever. The merch website, I have some important things about that I want to show you. I'm also on Spotify, guys. You can actually listen, and I think you can watch this video on Spotify as well. So first of all, I want to go to my Patreon real quick, just to kind of show you guys here. I already have a few people on here. You can actually join for free. You don't have to, do the subscription. But if you want to hook me up and actually support, my work and what I do, it's only $10 a month, guys. It's really nothing. And, you can get like a 7-day free trial. I'm always posting my merch sales on here. I talk a little bit about what's coming on the merch website. I show the designs of each of the zodiac, description or whatever it is. These are for the written horoscopes for the free members as well. But if you are, a top tier or tier member, you can also get this as well too. So you're getting the videos a little earlier from when I posted on, other platforms like This Is March and stuff like that. I usually post these a little earlier, and then, posted on YouTube later on too. So I just wanted to show you that, guys. I feel like I should at least start to, do this. But yeah, you can join $10 a month if you want, get a 7-day free trial, and then, maybe whatever. You can always cancel at any time too. So let's go to the merch website. There is some really, really cool merch websites. They're just cool. So right now I'm having like a 25% off sale. Here's some of the designs. I just released some cool designs, guys. You don't want to miss this. Look at this. So I released the Aries merch finally. It looks unbelievable, guys. I called it the Trailblazer. I feel like that is like the perfect name for it. Look at this design, guys. This is really cool. There's so many colors you can at least add on to this. You got the sizes here and all that stuff. It's really cool, guys, honestly, and you can even customize your own merch as well. Like you just click this and then you press customize tool, and then that'll lead you towards, what you want to create and stuff like that. So I just wanted to show you that. I did release the Pisces merch, so let me show you that as well, because I didn't show you in the last video. I told you it was gonna be out. So this is the Pisces, like it was literally the design, I can't even talk, that I posted for the written horoscopes. But I also put it on the merch. I put it on the shirts, and I put it on all this stuff. It looks cool, guys. What do you think? It's awesome, guys. I mean, yeah, there's always a bunch of sales I'm having on these websites. So come check it out. Even if you just want to just peek and just, look through this and scroll. There's Aquarius merch as well. All 12 zodiac signs are on there. I'm starting to double up on the new yearly zodiac sign design. So there's a lot more stuff coming every month. So I just wanted to show you that. Come support my Patreon if you want. That's an option. Follow me on Instagram. That's up to you too, guys. So let's jump back into April. So literally, okay, guys, this is going to be your astrological forecast for the month of April 2026. So let's jump into the chart. Okay. Like I said, thank you for being here. My name is Codifer. I am an astrologer. I'll just repeat it again. I'm really excited to do this month. This month, guys, bear with me. This is going to be a very, very important month. I was even talking about this month in my 2026 episode video that I released, a few months ago or whatever. And I was talking about this huge Aries buildup, this stellium happening in the sign of Aries. All these planets are just like building up to this, it's an Aries party and it's just crazy. So we'll get there. But the first thing happening is this full moon in Libra. So I feel like, as these planets, like I said, all these planets are starting to go through Aries. We have the sun, going through Aries. It just entered Aries, at the end of March. It's kind of going through this now. A lot of newness happening, a lot of new life, a lot of new creations is just being, brought up to the surface and stuff like that. This is the new astrological cycle where we are beginning. And then when we get to the full moon in Libra, this is, the balancing of the luminaries. The sun is in Aries, the moon is in Libra. So that's what makes a full moon, is when the moon is in the opposite sign of the sun. So the sun in Aries, like I said, it likes to show us what we are made of, what we can do. It's exalted in the sign of Aries. It wants to just, plow through anything and just be the first one to do whatever it is that it wants to pioneer into. It wants to create new life. It wants to try new things. It is focused on, the more individual self in a way. Not really focused on other people. It is just it is represented about the self. It's like, like that. So whenever the moon is in Libra, this energy is about, relationships. It is about creating more peace. It is creating more, balance and, diplomatic connections and stuff like that. The moon in Libra can be very social. So what I'm looking at this for this, full moon in Aries, full moon in Libra, my bad, is, it's trying to, look at not so much of the individual. It is trying to look at both sides. It's like, maybe you want to start something for yourself. You want to do this. You're doing something for yourself. You're focusing on this singular thing. But then the moon in Libra is like, but what about how other people, how can we bring other people into this, maybe this new creation that we are trying to initiate or innovate into? It is trying to, look at both sides. Even if there is some type of confrontational energy with, you and a partner or some other relationships, this is going to be the time to really focus on how we can find some middle ground and find that peace and balance, how we can connect other people, instead of just focusing on one single person. Because, Libra is the sign of, the scales, it's relationships, it is focusing on mirroring other people. And this is the best way to really look at, the Aries Libra axis is the Aries energy is, like I said, is about the singular self, individual self, and the sun is shining its light, and then the moon is in Libra, reflecting what it's being lit up and stuff like that. So it is a mirror. It is reflecting on other people. It is reflecting on relationships. Around this time, usually when we have a full moon in Libra, this is kind of around Easter, the holiday Easter. So, and I believe it's the Sunday after this full moon happens, and that's just kind of the traditional, time or whatever. That's why usually Easter is kind of always bouncing around. It's never just set on a one day. I don't know, this is kind of a weird little, side note about that. But the full moon in Libra and the sun in Aries, they're actually making this, not only are they opposite each other, but they're both forming a little 90-degree angle to Jupiter in Cancer over here. And I was looking over this last night, and this, whenever there's tensions or some, I don't know, tensions between, when Jupiter is in a tense aspect, we'll just say square, opposition, or whatever, it kind of makes things a little bit bigger. It is about growth. It is about amplifying something up. So, but they're all three in cardinal signs, which are all about initiating something. It is all about starting up. That is what cardinal signs are all about. They are the start of every season. The sun is in Aries, that's the spring season. Jupiter is in Cancer. Cancer is about the summer season starting up, and Libra is about the autumn season starting up, and Capricorn is the winter season starting up. So cardinal signs really start the stuff up. It starts the project. It initiates something new. It is the leaders of every of the season in a way. But yeah, so having this T-square, what we call T-square, is when two planets are 90-degree angle, and Jupiter's in the midpoint. Jupiter is basically, I think it's called the focal point, as whenever a planet is right in between 90-degree angles of an opposition. So I feel like, yeah, like what I was thinking, like, this can be like, even if there's like some tensions between you and a partner or you and other people, I feel like Jupiter can really provide that guidance, that kind of like a therapy session. You know what I mean? Like this can be, this is what I was thinking of last night. It's kind of funny. I didn't even know why I thought about this, but I was like, this is a perfect example because Jupiter's in Cancer. It's like, it is like your therapist, and it's like, let's say you and a partner are like going to therapy. It's like, there's some tensions there and blah, blah, blah. And but then Jupiter's like, how can we actually, fix this? How can we, no matter if there is some, conflicts or whatever, but how can we provide more, secure, safe, just nurturing kind of energy in a way. So that's kind of what I would think of doing this. This can be anything too. That's what I was just thinking of. It's kind of a funny analogy, but yeah, like I mean, this could be overdoing it too. I mean, most of these planets are going to start to square Jupiter, which could feel overbearing, overstimulating, over much, like just too much as it is. So, but you're going to have to make sure that you are taking care of what is necessary, what is your priorities and stuff like that, especially when it comes to you and other people and all that way. So that's what I'll say right there. The next big thing is Venus is coming up to a square with Pluto. So I was talking about, Venus just entering Taurus at the end of March. As she enters Taurus, she's in her home sign. She's in her warm, beauty, luxurious kind of sign. She feels natural. It's her home. This is like somebody coming home and just like relaxing in your suite. But then she comes into this square with Pluto, and this could bring some, relationship tensions. You know what I mean? Like literally right after the full moon in Libra, even if there is some kind of tensions, she is ruling that full moon, but then she runs into a square with Pluto. So the tensions could linger after, the full moon and stuff like that, I would think. I mean, even looking at this, like the moon right now at this point is in Scorpio, squaring Pluto, going opposite, Venus. So this can feel like a little, like I said, lingering, but a little deeper in a way. Psychological tensions with relationships, what you are valuing, maybe shaking up some comfort zone in some type of way. That's what I can add on to that. So just try to take it easy around this time, guys. Things do actually look a little better in a way. There's a lot of sextiles in this month too, guys. So the next big thing is Mercury's coming up to the final trine to Jupiter over here. We've been having this over the last couple months. Mercury's still in Pisces. It's finishing its time. And it's, it's in a Jupiter ruled sign. So literally, this is the final, like, call, you could say. Mercury's making that call to Jupiter. And, Jupiter has been trying to help Mercury through this, uncomfortable, time that Mercury's been in Pisces. And it's been a little lost in the sauce. Mercury is in its sign of fall or detriment or exile, whatever you want to call it. And it hasn't really been operating that good, but it's been being contacted by its ruler. So it's been kind of guided in a way. I've been kind of saying this, like, you lean towards other people if you have these, these uncomfortable thoughts that don't make sense. It's not so clear energy and stuff like that. But this is the final call. This is like everything is going to be all right. This is like you're finally leaving this, uncomfortable stuff that we've been going back over and stuff like that for the Mercury retrograde. So that's a good sign. Like I said, then the sun is basically making that square to Jupiter. So like I said, this could feel like you want to take on more than what you are, what you can handle in a way. The sun is actually in the superior position, so I feel like all these planets that go through Aries and make that 90-degree square to Jupiter, you're gonna feel like you're gonna want to do it anyways, no matter if like somebody's trying to tell you, hey, you're going too much, this is too much to handle. You got to make sure that you are taking like time for yourself, breaks, and like nurturing and stuff like that. But then it's just like the sun is exalted in Aries. it is like, I'm pushing forward, no matter what anybody says and stuff like that. So just try to take it easy. Like the first part of, I feel like April could feel a little, a lot in some type of way. But as we kind of go through it, the energy kind of simmers down in a way. But yeah. Next big thing happening is Mars is making a sextile to Uranus, which is cool. I mean, Mars is finally, leaving its time in Pisces that it's been in since the beginning of March. And it makes a little sextile to Uranus. So Mars has been kind of just guided with, it's been riding the wave, like I said last month, kind of following its gut. No matter what situation, whatever plan that we've been kind of wanting to do. And then having a sextile to Uranus can actually alter some routine, some path, some goal that you want to actually go down. And it can be a little shakeup. It's not going to be the biggest thing in the world, but, try something new whenever it comes to whatever desired direction, action, you want to tackle. This can actually help you out in a way. So that's kind of what I would say. And then right after that, Mars enters its home sign of Aries. So that's a huge deal, guys. Mars is out of Pisces. It can, it's in Aries. It's almost like a wake-up call. It's like, okay, now I got the energy to actually do what I want to do. But the thing is, these planets are going to be going over Saturn and Neptune. So there's these triggering points that we have been dealing with over the last, first few months of 2026. But Mars and Aries, very good for just like quick action, being like just charged up, energizing, just go-getter, it's home, it's in its home sign. We got Venus in its home sign of Taurus, Mars is finally, in its natural element. Things are looking pretty good at this point. And then right after that, around the same time, that's when Mercury ends its, shadow period. So it's out of its retrograde territory. It's stationed at like 22 degrees of Pisces. I think at the end of February or something like that. But we're finally done with the Mercury retrograde. And it's like at this point, we are like fully locked in into no planets in retrograde, moving forward without any delays and stuff like that. So push until we get to like the beginning of May. This is why this is going to be a huge month to start something. I can go on and on, but I have to continue. Mars ends up going over Neptune, which is the next big thing. And, this could go, in either direction. I mean, Mars is in its home sign of Aries. It can be energized about something. It can, be like, I want to do this and I'm going to tackle this, and just, tackle the whole world in some way, take on the whole world. But then like having it come into conjunction with Neptune, this can either feel like you are, this idealistic perception, this creation, this feeling inside that you want to go after and tackle. You didn't think you could take on the world, but then you actually do it, and you're like, I can do whatever what else can I do in a way. It's a really like just new creative spark in a way. But this could also lead you down to somewhere that you weren't expecting, because it is Neptune, so you can't really trust it too well. Like I said, even in the world, the global stance, this could, bring more, confrontational tensions between, places around the world. So just kind of have that in mind. I mean, we've been kind of seeing it in the, over the last couple months, especially in the last month or so. But this can just describe stuff in our personal lives, and as well as the global stance too. So kind of just know what you're getting into around this time, and then Mars will eventually hit Saturn, and then that'll like kind of like get you that reality check of like what is actually what you can actually do after that point or something like that. So we'll get to there. Venus is making a sextile to Jupiter, and I was looking at this last night and I was like, oh my god, I was like, this is probably one of the sweetest parts of the month. This Venus in Taurus, she's in her home natural sign. She's full of beauty, full of just stability, wants to just value all the, just the warmth and stuff like that. It's just nice. And then you add the sextile to Jupiter, which is exalted in Cancer, and it's like, this is where the growth is at, and there's so much emotional just safety, and it's just nice, guys. Like I said, when I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, this is kind of like, you going over a friend's house or you getting together with a friend's house and you're literally just having a movie night. You know, you got the movie playing, you got your snacks and sweets and stuff like that. You're just indulging into just, you know, just comforts, you know, comfort food, and, you know, all, you're just comfortable lounging around. Like, that's kind of how I would describe that, because like Taurus and Cancer, I would describe that as being like, you know, feeling nurturing and like you know, very secure and stable, and it feels good and stuff like that. I love that aspect, guys. Take advantage of that. That was kind of funny too. I've been thinking of like little analogies as I, you know, kind of prepare these videos, but yeah, I was thinking about that too. That's a funny thing to talk about. And then Mercury will make a sextile to Uranus right before it enters Aries. So this is kind of just, you know, even if you are kind of like still kind of lost in the sauce in some type of way, like I said with Uranus, like right after Mars made that sextile to Uranus, now it's Mercury. This could really break you outside of a thought pattern, the way you're thinking about something. I'm still laughing about that thing that I just said. I'm sorry. But yeah, this could really like, you know, alter some new way of thinking. Maybe you have a conversation with somebody, like let's just say you are, you know, chilling with some friends, and then you start to have this deep conversation that kind of just like, you know, opens your mind to like new possibilities. You're like, whoa, I didn't think I could think like that, or I didn't know that was possible, or something like that. You're getting all of this new ideas. You're experimenting a lot of just conversations and stuff like that, and that's just kind of cool. And then Mercury, as well as the moon. Here we go, guys. We have the Aries party. The Aries Stellium is happening right now. So Mercury gets into Aries. It's the wake-up call, literally. Like, our Mercury's getting out of its sign of fall that it's been in since, what did I say? The beginning of February, I think it was. Long time. That is 2 months of that, and the whole Mercury retrograde. So we're way far from that. Mercury in Aries, this is a very quick, you know, very action-oriented mind, very energized. You want to just like tackle the whole world. Like I said, like this is kind of like me repeating myself, but yeah, this is where the Aries Stellium, this is where the whole, you know, newness begins. Look at this. Mercury, Neptune, Mars, the moon, Saturn, Sun, and even Chiron, the asteroid, whatever you want to call that. All of that, I think that's like 7 celestial bodies all in the sign of Aries, really initiating a new sense, a new creation, a new life. Like, what is going on at this point, guys? It is, everybody's in the sign of Aries, literally. Like, almost every planet is there. And that's the most wildest thing, too. Like, it's a very rare moment. I don't think we've had many moments like this where so many planets are in this. And like I said, I was talking about this in my 2026 video, my yearly forecast. And I was even looking at this point, I don't know if it was like a year prior to this or maybe a few months, like looking, you know, before this time, and even before I made the 2026 video. But I was like posting this on my Instagram story, and I was just like, look at how many planets are in Aries. Like, I was looking at the new moon in Aries, and I was like, this just looks like so much newness happening here. And it's just, it really is. It's so much like new creative life. So it's like, what do you want to create for this new astrological year? This is really the first the first new moon of the astrological new year. I know, a lot to take in. But what do you want to create for yourself? What do you want to create for your life, like, or even for this year? Excuse me. Even if this is kind of where your New Year's resolutions really begin and stuff like that, but just like what is possible, so much newness is possible. And after this point, we're going to see all the, you know, the blossomings of the creations of the seeds being planted, the intentions and stuff like that from this point on, you know what I mean? So this is a huge moment in time, guys. Like, I can't emphasize this. I don't think we're going to have a month like this, you know, for the rest of the year and stuff like that. So this is like a big deal, guys. So basically the next big thing is like, I think I have Mars sextile, Pluto right here. But basically everything is starting to sextile Pluto. As soon as these planets get into, you know, Aries, they will sextile Pluto. And that is just really embracing this empowerment, you know, on top of what we are initiating, what we are trying to create, what new life we want to put out there, where we want to pioneer into new territory. You add the Pluto, you know, sextile the Aquarius energy, that can really alter alter your community, alter your friendships, alter your circle of just people that you surround yourself with. This can, even on a global stance, this could really create new systems or something new with like society, and like how we can shift new things into our daily lives and stuff like that. Mars, like I said, Mars is about the actions we take. So yeah, linking up with other people can really like combine and make some new life at this, like strength in numbers. I've been saying strength in numbers with a lot of Pluto and Aquarius, but you add like the Aries energy to this, and Aries and Aquarius energy can really create some new unexpected life or just creations and stuff like that. It's very interesting, guys. I mean, basically that's really it. The new moon happening is basically on Chiron. Let me get to the actual moment. I think it's at 27 degrees. So 27 degrees of Aries, basically on Chiron and stuff like that. That's just, even if, you add that Chironic, energy, which is about the wounded healer. That's what it's called. I believe it's what it's called, whatever. It's an asteroid. It's, about, like whatever, trauma or, some painful situations, has been maybe, it's in Aries, and it's about the individual self. So maybe there's been some weakness, some woundedness when it comes to our individual autonomy in a way. But then there's also a healing type of energy as well to this Chironic energy. So it's been maybe trying to heal our own individual selves. And when you put the new moon on top of Chiron, adding that to the intentions of what newness is coming out of this can bring out some purging in a way, some new life that hasn't, ever been, that you've never done before in a way. So that's something I could just add to. But, and then basically right after that, Mercury makes that sextile to Pluto too. So your thoughts are really, communications can feel empowering when you maybe talk to a friend, talk to other people, kind of get people into your, your circle of space or something like that, of whatever you are creating. And then we basically get into Taurus season right after that. That is the next thing. So the sun enters Taurus, it leaves the little Aries party at this point. It gets grounded, it puts its feet back on the ground. We are in the middle of spring at this point. This is where things are starting to, warm up a little bit. The roots of the creations that we have been brewing in Aries season start to get in the ground. The roots will, actually dig into the dirt, you could say, if you're planting anything. That's kind of the description of Aries into Taurus. And you are starting to see the flowers bloom at this point. So whatever has been created or started, this is the time to find some consistent, energy to not so put all your energy out there. You got to cruise, you know what I mean? That's kind of the Taurus energy. It's not about like going fast. It's slowing it down a little bit. Let's take a steadfast approach, when it comes to any goals and stuff like that. It is a fixed sign. So it is trying to, hold all of its solid energy and staying in its lane without, any change and stuff like that. So kind of find your rhythm, find your pattern, find your routine when it comes to this, whatever's been starting, and can find some consistency into it. The next big thing happening at this time, let me actually go to the moment. Hold on. Where is it at? I need to just I was looking at this yesterday. Right here. So we got Mercury, Saturn, and Mars all at 7 degrees of Aries, guys. This is wild right here, guys. This is some crazy stuff. So like I said, over the past couple of videos, Mercury and Mars have been making a conjunction ever since their time in Scorpio. They made one in Sag, they made one in Capricorn. They were co-present in Aquarius. They made a conjunction in Pisces last month when Mercury is going retrograde and Mars is going through Pisces. But this is the final conjunction for a while, I would think. But Mercury and Mars have been meeting up, you know what I mean? They've been kind of linking up their mental agility, their mental active, mindset and stuff like that. It's just been all over the place, a huge, mess, a huge just shift when it comes to our mindset, our putting our mind and body and just going for it and stuff like that. But this is in Aries, so this could feel like you are energized, you are ready to go. But you have Saturn right in the middle in the mix of this. So this is telling us to hold on for right now. Saturn is in Aries, and I've been talking about this of being like, slowing down this Aries energy, and actually taking our time. Saturn's going to be in Aries for about 2 years at this point. So, but Saturn in Aries is like it's slowing down. It needs to understand like, hey, these creations that we want to initiate or jump first and think later about, like, we need to actually think first instead of jumping. And I think that's what I said when I think it was last May when Saturn first dipped into Aries last summer. I was like, saying like, this will be the time to actually, like kind of feel hesitant about your actions and just actually understand, like, don't jump first, actually take your time when it comes to any long-term achievements, long-term goals. You have to be a little bit more disciplined and mature before you are able to, go off to the races. And even if most of us, have to do things over and over again, which is kind of a Saturn Aries thing, energy, we will eventually, gain the rewards. We will eventually understand what is happening here. But when I was thinking about this last night, you are putting the mind, Mercury, your actions, the body, Mars, into whatever creations, whatever new life is happening, but you're putting Saturn in the mix of it. And this can actually, if you use this energy right, you will understand that, yes, you might not want to just push forward these plans right away, but actually think about more strategic ways of going after or tackling these plans or ideas or creations that you are cooking up right now at this time. So that's kind of crazy. Like another like negative side to this, people might feel frustrated that they can't just do anything that they want. And maybe we will all feel that type of way in whatever situation, because Saturn is like the authority figure. It's the gatekeeper. It is that person that says no. It's like, hold on, we need to make sure that we are, doing the right thing. In a way, it creates the boundaries, the restrictions, the blockages in some type of way, and that's where the frustration could appear. Mars and Saturn, in Aries, that's already like feeling strained about something, because that's like the gas pedal and the brake, like you're hitting both of those at the same time. And it's in Aries. I can go on and on. Like, that's the best description to describe that. But just, take it easy. Try to understand if there is any plans or situations you want to really go after. Hold on, take a step back, understand what you are actually getting into, and, be more strategic, like I said. And then basically right after that is Venus is coming up to conjunction with Uranus, and we're getting towards the end of the month. And that's literally the last thing happening before they enter Gemini. And this is crazy though, too, guys, because this is the end, of Uranus going through the sign of Taurus. We've had Uranus and Taurus since, it dipped in a little bit into 2018 into Taurus, and then went back into Aries at that point. And then 2019, it officially entered the sign of Taurus. So kind of look back of what's been changed in this Taurus energy. You know what I mean? Uranus in Taurus hasn't been the best transit, you could say, because Taurus likes to keep things stable and Uranus likes to shake everything up and try new things. So it's been a very earthquake, shaken to the core type of energy since we've had this. But I feel like a lot of ever since we did have Uranus in Taurus, looking at all this, new ways of like agriculture, like a lot of the plant-based stuff actually started to become more popular in the media and stuff like that. And that's kind of a Uranus and Taurus thing. Look back and reflect on your finances, and how has your finances been? Have you tried to step outside the box when it comes to valuing new things? A lot of digital currencies has been really the big thing since Uranus has been traveling through Taurus. So that's another thing, the plant-based stuff, digital currencies, stepping outside the box when it comes to just like possessions and earning financial stuff, or just trying new things out. You know what I mean? Like, think about that stuff, guys. Reflect how much has been changed. And then having Venus coming up to this conjunction with Uranus is really that last hurrah of like, what else do you want to change before we, turn the page and shift gears in a way. So yeah, I mean, Venus is in our home sign, like I said, of Taurus, mixing up with Uranus. This is a very experimental type of energy, even if this is focusing on, personal relationships or something that you are valuing, shake it up a bit. You know what I mean? If there, is something that feels kind of, stale or stagnant when it comes to relationships, or something that you want to attract and you want to try something new, now's your time. Change it up a bit, shake it up a bit, step outside the comfort zone, step outside your norm. And when it comes to like possessions, financial attractions, relationships in general, just enjoying things in general, like this is a really big moment, guys. And then after this, right before we get that, let's see, hold on, I think, okay, so Venus enters Gemini, and then around that time, that's when the sun is making a square to Pluto. So I mean, let's just talk about, the sun square Pluto is just repeating the Venus square Pluto aspect. The sun is in Taurus, you want to be stable, you want to be in your comfort zone, but then there's some psychological tensions happening that might, create a little bit of friction in some type of way when it comes to what you want to enjoy. So just gotta be mindful of that repeated, aspect. We will end up getting more of that as we get probably into May. But Venus entering Gemini and she's like leading Uranus. This is the Uranus in Gemini shirt that I am wearing from my website, so I had to wear this for this. But Venus and Gemini, I mean, she gets out of her, fixed home sign of Taurus. She gets into a Mercury ruled sign. It's in Gemini. This is like a more flexible, adaptable sign to be in. Venus and Gemini will create more curious ways of like what we find enjoyable. We're gonna like value more intellectual like things, even if it's like in conversations or just people in general. We're gonna find that attractive, very talkative, like flirtatious, lighthearted kind of ways of like how we express love or how we just want to attract all that stuff. Like it's very mental, you know what I mean? It's an air sign, so it has that mental stability, not mental stability, but the mental intellectual attractions that it wants to stimulation. That's what I was trying to say. Mental stimulation of what we find enjoyable and stuff like that. It's not so deep, like it's a very lighthearted sign. So I mean, it's even if you want, you have somebody or somebody with the Venus and Gemini and you want to, get a little deep and intimate with them, they might feel like surface level. They're not so, shallow in a way. They're not so deep. It's an air sign. So you got to just kind of go with the flow, and whatever sparks their interest mentally, that's what'll, deep conversations. If you want to go deep with them, get deep with conversations with these people. That's what I'll say about that. So a lot of variety stuff, versatile, witty, knowledge, all that kind of stuff is what Venus and Gemini likes to attract. And then at the same time, Mercury is basically making a square to Jupiter. So like I said, this is kind of just like, wanting to go overboard, over promising of what you can actually take on and handle. Mercury and Jupiter and Cancer is like, are you sure that's safe? Are you sure that's gonna be right? Maybe these are conversations that kind of create some tensions with certain belief systems that you have with other people, or maybe somebody has a conversation and tells you something that goes against your beliefs in some type of way that whatever beliefs that you feel protectedness feels safe might go against something else. But the Mercury is in the superior position, like I said, so it's going to go after it no matter what. That's kind of what I would think about. But the big thing, guys, here we are. Uranus officially enters the sign of Gemini. So I'm going to kind of like read a few, like some notes that I wrote from my 2025 yearly episode that I wrote, preparing myself for, this Uranus and Gemini. And this is going to be a big deal, guys. It really is. Let's just kind of talk about the dates first. So Uranus will be in Gemini from April 25th, 2026, all the way to August 4th, 2032. Okay, that's like the full transit, and then Uranus will dip into Cancer for a little bit in 2032, which is August 4th, 2032, all the way to December 12th of 2032. Give us that introduction of what that transit's going to be like. But then it'll station retrograde, move back into the sign of Gemini in, December 12th, 2032, and then stay there until May 22nd, 2033. So we literally have April 2026 all the way to May of 2033 of Uranus going through the sign of Gemini. I believe that's 7 years, around there. And that's a long time, you know what I mean? We just had 7 years of Uranus and Taurus, but here's the next chapter, and this is the next, the next checkpoint, like I've been saying, of these outer planets going into new signs since last year and stuff like that. And look at this. I mean, most of the planets are in fire and air signs. Look, Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius, Neptune and Saturn and Aries. Later on this summer, we're going to have Jupiter going to the sign of Leo, and then the North Node and South Node are going to enter Aquarius and Leo. There's going to be so much, fire and air, energy that is very masculine, that is very go-getter, that is very bold energy. It's huge, guys. We are kind of leaving the planets being in earth and water signs that we've had for many, many years. So this is a huge deal, guys. But let me just kind of talk about, the energy and the notes that I've written down for Uranus and Gemini. It's going to be a chaotic, energy, guys, especially for America. And like I said earlier this video, like we've already seen this, kind of built up stuff with places around the world that, is getting a lot of friction and tension, and a lot of chaoticness is happening. And, it's kind of, I don't want to fear anybody. And I've been talking about some type of warlike energy, especially about Uranus and stuff like that, because the last few times, I have the last 3 times that Uranus has traveled through the sign of Gemini was 1942 to 1949, and during that period, that was during World War II. I believe Pearl Harbor was kind of in that mix of that too, or like kind of around that time. A lot of crazy stuff. It was very just unexpectedness. I mean, we can already see it. We've already had a lot of tensions around the world over the past, few years too. But now I would assume, because you're like when you're looking at America's chart, they have Uranus in Gemini, and it's been very like a reset, unpredictable situations, you could say, every time. Like the period I just told you about, World War II, the prior transit before that was 1859 through 1866, and that was the U.S. was going through a civil war at that point. And then the time before that one was 1775 through 1782, and that was during the American Revolutionary War. So like I said, there's a lot of warlike energies, guys, and I hate to say it, but we're kind of already seeing that. And how, like, when you're looking at the astrology and you're looking at the world, you look at the astrology, you're like, a lot of astrologers have been preparing and mentioning that stuff, and then you look at what's going on, you're like, oh boy, you know what I mean? That's the kind of things. But let's just kind of, focus on the general vibe of Uranus and Gemini. Besides that, this will indicate a strong desire for independence, rebellion, and radical shockwaves. Uranus represents innovation, originality, individuality, breaks out of the status quo, futuristic perceptions, forward movement, life-altering shakeups, and like inventiveness and stuff like that. It's a very stepping outside the Saturnian walls, breaking outside the walls or whatever. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. But yeah, it's a very like, let's kind of speed things up. And it's a very speedy, like shockwaves, kind of lightning strikes, like boom, in your face, like getting the, rug pulled from beneath your feet, like, whoa, didn't expect that. That's the kind of Uranus themes that happen. And usually we don't know what's going to happen until something happens. And then we can understand, oh, that's kind of your Uranian energy in a way. But Gemini represents communication, intellect, versatility, wit. It's a Mercury ruled sign. The twins, quick thinking, adaptability, curious, information, learning, all that stuff. when you combine Uranus and Gemini, this will overturn these themes with being, social, a lot of changes with society and so like being social in a way, or like and like there's going to be a lot of futuristic inventions in the ways that we converse with other people, or just technology and stuff like that. We're going to see a lot of alternating new technologies possibly over the next 7 years. This energy will bring revolutionary, unexpected, and transformative changes, as like I said, especially with technology. That's what I have in my notes. A lot of technology revolutions. Like I said, new ways of communicating, and shifts and changes, and a bunch of this stuff. It's gonna be wild, guys. I mean, it can go in any like direction possible, but we can talk more about it as we go through this trend and see this developing and unfolding over time. So that's kind of just how we end the month. I think the last big thing I have on here is literally like Venus making a trine to Pluto. But look, I mean, like I mentioned, she's still with Uranus, and Uranus is fully making that trine to Pluto too, and that's going to bring some more alternating, alternative, outside of the box, unexpected ways of like how society is like working in general, linking up. A lot of technological stuff will be shifted. We've seen a lot of artificial intelligence having Pluto in the sign of Aquarius over the last few years. So having Uranus connect with Pluto could really maybe raise the bar up when it comes to AI in general. Just to put that out there, not exactly sure how that's gonna play out, but yeah, a lot of technical stuff is gonna be shifted in a dramatic way. And yes, like you said, when we look at America and stuff like that, there can be a lot more changes happening with the country in general. That's just kind of what I would think about that. So not to scare anybody, but that's just kind of just true facts in a way. So that's kind of it. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. We are going to shift into the horoscopes. Kind of a longer overview, but there was a lot to talk about in that. So I told you guys, even though it looked like a short month, there's a lot to talk about, and there was. So let's try to get through the horoscopes as quickly as possible. Okay, so please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for enjoying the forecast part of the episode. This is where the time steps will begin for the zodiac sign rising signs, and you can follow for your zodiac sign rising sign. You can also follow for your sun sign or whatever, but I would recommend to understand the timing of your birth, to understand your rising sign, to get the best description possible of what I am talking about. So okay, Aries Rising, here we go. This is your forecast for April. So you have a full moon happening in your 7th house right here in the opposite sign of you. And like I was kind of describing in the overview, like this is your time, Aries. This is your season. You are feeling very refreshed, very energized. The sun and all of these other planets are literally building up into your sign. So there is so much newness happening for you, for what you are trying to put out into the world. A lot of new creations, new life is happening. And when you have a full moon over here, this is just, the moon is trying to reflect other people and how other people can, be a part of what you are trying to present yourself into. Maybe, this is a time for, extending new relationships, bringing people, into your, whatever you are trying to put out into the world. This can be a very supportive even people can be supportive in a way. Like you are something is coming to light when it comes to relationships, business contracts, partnerships, supporting other people or other people supporting you, commitments, all that kind of stuff, contracts, all this stuff. But that's a good thing. I mean, it could be a good thing. So extend a hand to somebody that you might think will enjoy what you're trying to create there. So that could be interesting for the most part, guys. Let's see. The next big thing is literally everything is just gonna go into your sign, Aries. So I mean, I feel like this horoscope is just we're just talking about you, like because it's everything's in your first house of like, you know, your personality, your first impression. It is your identity. It is your physical appearance, your body, your approach to life, your attitude, your character. Literally, you're getting like so many different planetary filters through this filter that you are putting out into the world of who you are. So I think the next, what is it? The next big thing is what I say, Mars going into your sign. So yeah, I mean, literally, that's all that's really happening is just all these planets going into Aries. So there's just so much happening. Mars, your ruler, is entering your first house of Aries, so that is going to feel really energizing in a way. I mean, you do have Saturn here, so Saturn in the first house, it's in an angular house, especially in the first house, can feel somewhat heavy in a way. Even though you might, like I said, you have all this energy, you know, different filters going through how you are presenting your energy, but you know, you do have Saturn here to really put a more, you know, disciplined kind of energy of who you are. And even if this kind of limits some type of way in of how you normally go about your day, you know, Saturn is limiting this stuff. You know, Aries energy is very quick. You want to just go at it head first, jump, you know, ram into something new as quick as possible. You want to be the first one to do it. But then Saturn is really holding something. It's putting a wall around you and how much you can actually handle in a way. So don't feel frustrated. There's probably a reason for that. This is a time to like slow down in a way. Saturn's going to be here for like in the next 2 years until like April of 2028. So you literally have 2 years exact for this transit to happen. So slow down, kind of understand there might be a reason for this. Like maybe you need to become a little bit slower when it comes to how you just are presenting yourself in a way. But yeah, you have Mars here. It's like you have this energy to do all this stuff, but you also have Saturn here that's like holding you back. So just take it easy, guys. I don't want to like fear anybody, but there's just a lot going on for a huge shift, a huge personal shift is happening for you, Aries. So I feel like once all this is like passed, we'll get to the next month and following months, and like as this whatever's going on right now, you'll see the energy happening, the remnants of what started, what I was talking about throughout the year, and you'll be like, yeah, you'll look back and be like, okay, maybe that was the right thing to do. Maybe that was what I needed, instead of just kind of just going after all this stuff. So kind of a little example. That's kind of just basically the whole month too, guys. I mean, like, we get out of the Mercury, you know, shadow retrograde thing that's been going on in your 12th house. So a lot of behind the scenes, psychological, unconscious, you know, things that haven't felt, you know, clear. You've been going back over and kind of purging, and maybe you've taken on some type of spiritual mechanisms that has helped you kind of guide yourself through this. You're finally done with that. And then, like I said, Mercury will join the Aries party. That'll kind of feel like a wake-up call in a way. So, and then basically, like I said, so that's kind of, we're getting towards the, you know, Mercury enters your first house, and then the moon enters your first house. Look at this, guys. I mean, even like, let's just say you are an Aries ascendant. Like, this is a huge thing. This is like 8 points in the sign of Aries. It's just wild. So it's just a huge new creation, a huge new cycle is happening for you in the most, you know, I would say dramatic way, but there's just too many, there's a lot of layers happening on top of each other. So, whatever creations you are trying to do, or for yourself, for what you want to put out into the world, your impressions, you know, kind of just prepare for some newness. You know, that's what I would say about that. So, and then right after that, that's when everything just starts to get into Taurus. Hold on, let me get back a little bit. So the sun enters your second house of Taurus. It gets out of your first house. This is where things kind of just, you know, kind of get settled down in a way. You get a little grounded. You start to, you know, focus on, you know, your stability, security. You start to focus on your possessions, what you actually need to, like, you know, find some consistent support for yourself. And this could be, you know, like maybe putting in a little extra time at work to, if you're able to find, you know, to, you know, receive, you know, a stable work ethic, stable, you know, possessions, financial, you know, situations and stuff like that. You're find some consistent way to continue whatever, you know, whatever is going on for you at this point. And yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the second house, possessions, finances, your own security. Maybe you want to start investing a little bit more to build up some type of savings, or, you know, to just feel a little bit more secure and stuff like that. That's kind of just where we are going towards as the sun. And then all these other planets will start to get into your second house along the next couple months. So yeah, I mean, whatever's been building up, this is like the time to just like, okay, now let's put our feet on the ground and actually find some, you know, consistent pattern, routine that can, you know, we can see the blossomings happening of whatever plans that has been going on for you. I hope that makes sense. I mean, yeah, I mean, just kind of just focus on your priorities, what you actually need. If you want to, you know, build up some type of savings and stuff like that, you know, find your rhythm, you know what I mean? You'll understand what is happening over time. So, I mean, that's kind of just that. And then basically the next big things is Venus and Uranus are going into your third house. I mean, let alone Venus going into your third house, you might feel a little bit more, you know, connected to people in your local environment. You might want to, you know, mingle with, you know, close friends, you know, connect with people online. Just kind of maybe enjoy things like taking short trips, just enjoying things in your local environment, or, you know, hanging out with neighbors or siblings, or learning some educational information if you are, you know, you want to learn any of that stuff. And then, you know, you literally have Uranus officially moving into your third house. You know, it's done in your second house. Kind of reflect, like I was talking about, like your financial stuff and stuff, like all that, you know, themes. How has that changed over the last 7 years? I mean, even if you had to step outside the box when it comes to just like, you know, new support, new priorities and all that stuff like that. But now it's entering your third house, and this is going to alter the way you know, you learn stuff, the way you are communicating and stuff. You might find, you know, new ways. You might have to step outside the box when it comes to new ways of like, you know, connecting with people, connecting with, you know, siblings, neighbors, online stuff. If you want to have some type of like writing project or be a little bit more active on social media, this is going to alter your life in the next 7 years and stuff like that. So this is only the beginning. It's a huge deal, guys. Should be excited about that. So that's kind of that. I hope that's a pretty decent, you know, horoscope for you guys. We will see you in the next month. Okay, for Taurus Rising, so this is going to be your April 2026 forecast. So the first thing happening, you know, you're getting a lot of planets in your 12th house during this month. And the 12th house can feel a little bit of like an isolation, very secluded type of area for you. Maybe you want to, you know, kind of, you know, stay behind the scenes when it comes to whatever is happening for you. It's an interesting kind of placement for you to have. I mean, especially about to have all these planets build up in this, you know, 12th house area for you. So you're going to have like so many filters throughout, you know, this month to really like, here, we'll talk about the 12th house. I mean, it is about mental health. It is about, like I said, like isolation, seclusion, some type of spiritual, you know, way. It's like your subconscious stuff, you know, I mean, that kind of behind the scenes, your dreams. Your dreams are probably going to be, I wouldn't say wild, but very active, I would think, maybe this month, maybe, I don't know, that's just kind of a guess. But in the general vibe, there's a lot of endings in the, you know, the long-term, you know, goals and situations, but also in the short-term goals and stuff like that. Because usually, especially when the sun is entering, you know, the sign of Aries, it's the sign before your sign. it is a time of ending cycles and stuff like that. You know something is about to change, and you kind of can feel this internalizing situation shifting in a way before it gets into your first house of Taurus. And then once they get into the sign of Taurus, you will feel this like awakening, this new life, this new cycle will begin and stuff like that. You just have your ruler, Venus, enter your home sign, your first house of Taurus at the end of March. So this is very, very lovely for you guys, honestly. Like having Venus, let alone like no matter if it is your ruler or not, in your first house, will give you this more beauty, more enjoyable type of energy when it comes to just feeling good about yourself and just looking good. Like Venus is in her home sign, so if you want to feel sexy, go at it. Go just show off, you know what I mean? You are gonna feel a lot more enjoyment when it comes to just like attracting people. You already have that beauty type of ascendant look to your body and stuff like that. And then you have Venus on top, like going through just to add that sweetness to it, which is gonna feel very, very lovely for you guys. I'm super excited about that for you. But yeah, like I said, this is a time of ending cycles. You have a full moon happening in your 6th house to kind of balance out and reflect a lot of, I would say, health stuff in a way. I mean, like I said, the 12th house can be about mental health, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. The 6th house can represent, like physical health and your daily routines and stuff like that. So if there's any like maybe heaviness on your subconscious mind, or just whatever is going on in the background that nobody really notices, you might feel some type of heavy. I mean, you do have Saturn in your 12th house as well. Saturn does find its sign. It finds its joy placement in the 12th house, which is, I guess, a good placement to be in, but it might feel somewhat heavy on being isolated or some type of subconscious. I don't know. That's something I can talk about another time. Anyway, so like I know that's I can get into that stuff. Okay, so the full moon happening in Libra in your 6th house is just reflecting of, even though you might have some you might have to purge some mental issues, you might have to get rid of some addictions or whatever. The moon is kind of offering new supplements in a way that can really reflect your mind, body, and spirit kind of healing type of energy. And that's kind of what I would think of at this point too. So yeah. So I mean, even if you're let's say a work routine that you are trying to do and it feels kind of heavy and you're not really too sure on this can actually show you what needs to be illuminated, what needs to be shown, just in order to you find the healing in a way. The next big thing is just basically everything is just starting to get into the sign of Aries for you. It is entering your 12th house. Let me just get this right. So the next big thing is you have Mars here, and then I'm gonna just go here. No, actually, let me stop here. So Mars is entering your sign of Aries, your 12th house or whatever. So, I mean, one thing I would say, every time Mars goes into the 12th house, you might have this, a lot of subconscious impulses that just kind of burst out of nowhere uncontrollably. So just kind of watch out for that. I mean, like I said, this is what it's kind of like, it's like there's a lot of endings building up here, but this is about maybe, if you are isolating yourself or you need that seclusion, that is really going to bring, a lot of mental healing in a way. Take a break or take some type of vacation maybe during this time if you need it to really settle yourself up, and to refresh your kind of energies. Maybe you do need some type of break to really feel a little better and stuff like that. So even if Mars in Aries, you are going to feel a little energized when it comes to maybe spiritual mechanisms, some type of guidance that will really feel really good to follow. That's kind of that. Mercury's hitting its shadow at this point. It's been in its retrograde territory over the last 2 months, basically being in the sign of Pisces for the last 2 months too. So you're kind of ending all this stuff that you've been rethinking about when it comes to maybe friendships. your lifelong goals, opportunities, something to do with like groups of people. You've been kind of maybe going back over, revising, trying to catch up on last minute thoughts or plans. When it comes to like alliances, groups, friends, networking, opportunities, something to do with like communities and your aspirations and all that. So I just wanted to add that layer. And then Mercury gets into your 12th house of Aries, as well as the new moon happening here. So I mean, you have a huge buildup in Aries. So I mean, there's just so many layers of like what is going on behind the scenes for you guys. I mean, we could continue. Blind spots, spiritual guides, addictions, alienation, some type of suffering in a way, but there might be a reason for that. Like I said, there could be a refreshing type of way of why this is happening for you guys. So I don't want to like say this is going to be the worst month, but take time for yourself. Really, if you need to like slow down in some type of situation, or let's just say you need to see a therapist and it kind of helps you, kind of level your mind out, or like a close friend, or something, or maybe just go into like some secluded area, a location that really kind of refreshes your, that brings that mental healing in a way. I would recommend that too. And then the next big thing happening, I mean, you have the new moon here too. So like I said, that's like refresh all that. That's kind of just what's happening. And then after that, we have your ruler going into your second house, as well as Uranus is entering your second house of Gemini. So Uranus is officially out of your sign. It's been in here for about 7 years. So this has already shooken you up to, in many, many different ways. You are not the same person as you were before Uranus went through the sign. So now that Uranus is in your second house officially, this is about your security, your financial side, your possessions, priorities, what you are valuing, let alone having your ruler here. You want to maybe attract and value, stimulating things, intellectual things, mental things in a way. I would think, that's what I would think about that. But yeah, like having Uranus here is really going to alter this work ethic, this possessions that you are having. Your finances is going to be not the same, like I said, once Uranus is done with this in the next 7 years and stuff like that. It will be until 2033. So just kind of think about your security is going to be shifted in some type of dramatic way, but step outside the box and try new things when it comes to that. That's kind of what I would think about that. I hope you guys like that. We'll see you in the next month. Okay, for Gemini Risings, this is going to be a big month for you too, I'm just saying. But first, you got a full moon happening in your fifth house over here. And you got all these planets about to build up this huge Aries Stellium in your 11th house too. So a lot of group activities or opportunities when it comes to just like, linking with other people and maybe focusing on like-minded lifelong goals and opportunities that can really blossom your, like what you want to do and what you want to, kind of be known for in a way. But yeah, whatever dreams, aspirations, opportunities you have with when you are networking with other people, either just working with colleagues and some type of, you're trying to build something in a way. A lot of stuff is going on, guys. I mean, community services, groups, alliances, hopes, social resources. These are just themes about the 11th house and stuff like that. But you have a full moon happening in your 5th house. It's just reflecting your own personal interests, your own personal hobbies, and maybe bringing that into this, 11th house stellium when you, provide your, let's just say your passions into, these groups of people that you are maybe linking to. That's just a thing that I can think of. So let's see. I mean, yeah, a lot of reflections, even if it's like some type of romantic interest. I don't know, maybe you are mingling with other people and then you find some, interest. I don't know, that can happen too. I'm just saying, like, anything can happen because the 5th house is about, creativity. It can be about children, hobbies, pleasures, passions, romance, drama, dating, inspirational stuff, bucket list stuff. So that's kind of what's going on here. So I don't know, link your stuff with other people and see how it goes. Next big thing is everything just starts to build up into your 11th house. Mars will enter that next. That is going to give you the energizing drive to actually, move mountains in a way. I'm just kidding. But that'll give you the energy to, like I said, it's going to continue this, group matters. You're going to feel more energized when you link with other people and, create new opportunities or kind of just work on any goals or situations or something like that, like your lifelong goals, and you want to, I don't know. I mean, there's so many layers building up. You can't just say like one thing at a time. There's just so much going on in this Aries house, this 11th house for you guys. Let's see, what else can I say about this? I mean, just a lot of supportive visions or linking other people to create new visions in a way. It is Aries too, so this is a lot of like pioneering creations, new life into new visionary situations. A lot of sudden gains could actually, happen at this time, even if there's some type of restrictions having Saturn here. You might have to, there's this heaviness in a way. You might have to work a little bit extra, a little bit harder to gain those, those actual, community gains or whatever, from maybe a career or just like networking with other people and stuff like that. A lot of profits or something like that. If you have like a business idea that you're trying to build, that can be like that. That could be just a lot of, other things. Your ruler Mercury is finishing its retrograde territory that it's been in for almost 2 months in Pisces. So even if you kind of have felt a little offline in some type of way, I mean, yes, Mercury went direct, but it's still in Pisces. It's still in its sign of, fall. It's not really so clear in this time, but it's just been thrown into the water and just kind of just seeing what it's what it can do in a way. So but now that Mercury's like, I'm swimming out, I'm getting out of the water now, like that's kind of, we're ending all that stuff. So once Mercury gets into, Aries, you'll feel like this, wake up call in a way. So but whatever's been, revising, you've had to go over plans and, back and forth in your 10th house when it comes to your public image, public, career, your reputations, how you are structuring your life, even if you felt like you kind of just had to go with the flow and just do whatever feels right. Maybe you had to adjust your responsibilities in some type of way, some type of way, or any long-term goals. That's kind of what I would think of. And then I believe right after that, I just wanted to mention that because that's kind of important. Mercury will enter your 11th house as followed by the new moon happening in Aries. And look at this, guys. Like I said, this is a huge Aries buildup, and this is a lot of new creations, a lot of newness is really cooking up at this time. So just kind of just like, yeah, like you have your ruler outside of it, it's not in its sign of fall anymore, so you can actually feel more energized mentally and feel this different type of energy that you have felt in a while. But this is going to be good, guys. A lot of new creations are happening when it comes to this 11th house stuff, so you're going to see the remnants happening, guys. You're going to see a lot of new opportunities, a lot new stuff that I've been talking about. Next big thing is the sun will enter your 12th house of Taurus, and that is going to just be about, ending cycles in a way, kind of putting your feet back on the ground, and kind of just, finding some consistent way of just like what's been kind of cooking up, these ideas, these creations. Now you can actually put it to the test and, ground yourself, but in a behind the scenes type of way, because it is the 12th house. Maybe you want to, stay a little low key when it comes to whatever you want to do and stuff like that. But basically, this is a time of just like isolating yourself and ending old cycles. Maybe go to, places, locations that can kind of, bring this, mental healing, energy. Because it is the 12th house and it is about healing that inner world of who you are and stuff like that. So this can be, spiritual practices, going to places that actually feel really healing and stuff like that. A lot of like, what else do I got? Like some type of just like seclusions, some type of loss, if there is any type of loss. But I like the loss part, I would just be like, just releasing a lot of stuff. This is going to be a time, once the planets start to get into Taurus, it's going to be a huge releasing time for you guys. So I don't want to say it's going to be a bad time, because look at it as that, you know what I mean? If you do feel some type of loss, focus on spiritual mechanisms that can really help you guide you through any type of, uncomfortableness or whatever. But the next big thing as we end the month is Venus and Uranus. Hold on. Venus and Uranus are entering your first house of Taurus. So, I mean, let alone Venus being in your first house, you're going to feel like this very, enjoyable impression. You're going to feel a little stimulated and, attract more mental, just intellectual people and stuff like that, like relationships, values. It's going to feel lighthearted in a way. Like, this will just add that juiciness to what you actually find enjoyable. And you officially have Uranus in your first house of Gemini, and this is going to alter your personality. This is going to alter your impression over the next 7 years. This is going to, maybe help you step outside the box when it comes to just how you want to present yourself and your energy and stuff like that. So that is a huge, huge, huge deal, guys. I mean, you kind of had that brief period of Uranus going into Gemini last summer, into fall. But so look back at that point if you want some type of information or kind of memories of what was going on at that time to kind of bring back, and you're like, okay, that's what I was doing then. So I'm assuming that'll, come back up in a way. But yeah, you're going to be, shifted in the most drastic way over the next 7 years. So that is very exciting, guys. I think that's about it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully it made sense. We will see you in the next month. Let me go here. Okay, so for Cancer risings, so you have a full moon happening in your 4th house on top of everything building up into your 10th house over here. And these planets will continue to go into this 10th house of your public life, your reputations, what you are known for, responsibilities, structures, your long-term goals, any achievements that you want to put out there into the world and be known for. There's going to be so many layers, different, building up, like I said, into this public area of life for you. But you also have the full moon in Libra to really kind of reflect, this home life, what you actually need to feel nurtured on top of putting all of this energy out there into the world. It's like, okay, the moon is like, we got to make sure that you are taking care of your domestic life. What do you actually need to actually, do you need enough, are you getting enough rest in order to put all of this energy into this, career, public life, and work life and stuff like that? But that's kind of a layer, what I could say. I don't know, maybe there's some type of drama that kind of, happens around the home life around this time that kind of reflects a lot of, relationship or connection issues in a way. But I don't know, it could go either way. But that's what I would think of, at least. You want to make sure that you are taking care of, you are nurturing yourself, you are getting enough rest, you're taking care of just as much as your home life, as much as you want to build new career situations. So that's kind of what I would think of. Everything just after this just starts to go into your 10th house. You got Mars here, you got Neptune here, you got Saturn here, you got the Sun here, and you got Chiron still here. But Mars here entering Aries, it's like a very energizing wake-up call in a way. You're gonna feel like I said, this is the time where you're gonna really want to push out into the world, into the goals and achievements and stuff like that. But you also have, not only Neptune, but you have Saturn here. So this can feel somewhat heavy. This is a very, you need to be more responsible and disciplined when it comes to any long-term goals, your career and stuff like that. It's going to be here for the next 2 years. Even if it feels kind of restricted or, limited or, heavy in some type of way, if you, use this energy wisely and do the right steps, even if there is some type of restrictions, limitations, you can't go farther than what you actually want to go. That's just Saturn and Aries in general. It will, slow things down, slow this energy, this Aries energy down, I should say. Even though you have Mars here, the planet that rules Aries, and it wants to go, 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 and it's like Saturn's like, no, hold on. So a lot of just stuff is happening here. We are finishing the Mercury retrograde that's been happening over the last couple months since it's been in Pisces. Around this time. So Mercury's out of shadow. We're done, or you're done with the whole revising, going back over plans, situations, what you had to kind of, revise and catch up on when it comes to maybe higher educational perceptions, knowledge, even if there's some type of schooling that you've been trying to catch up on and hasn't felt so clearly. This will be the time to really end all that. And you've done the homework, you've done the studying. Now let's kind of actually put it to the test and see how you can do after this. That's kind of how I would think of any traveling, any religious stuff, foreign cultures, all that kind of stuff that you've been maybe, going back and forth, trying to relearn and understand. So that's kind of, we're done with that. Just wanted to mention that. And then after that, Mercury ends up going into Aries and followed by the moon too. So you have all this Aries, how many planets are in Aries at this point? There's so many, even the midheaven, your midheaven's in Aries. So called for the whole sign house system right here. But there's just so much Aries energy. This is going to be a huge, new life, new creations, new ways of how your public image is going to be recognized, I would think. In so many different layers, guys. You can't just say, I can go down the list, but I don't have time to go down that. But it's just there's so many mental action, long-term discipline goals, idealistic perceptions, and then this new filter and this new intentions and stuff like that. That's kind of what is happening in your public life. Maybe starting a new career or trying to shift your career life in a way. I don't know. Something like that your reputations are going to be, and you'll see the remnants after this point, guys, too. So whatever's happening right now, you're going to see a little bit of culmination and something blossoming at this point. So it's a really enjoyable time. So try something new, guys, if you want to really change up your life in a way. Next thing is the sun is entering Taurus. So the sun gets out of the Aries party, the Aries stellium at this point. It's entering Taurus. So it's entering your 11th house. But for the general vibe, this is kind of just, whatever creations that you have been cooking up and, around this time, or when it comes to your reputations, your career life, or what you want to be known for. This is the time to find some consistent path, consistent routine that you can just kind of cruise and, extend this amount of energy that you want to, focus on. Having it in the 11th house is really, you can start to really gain more opportunities. Maybe you start focusing on, linking with other people, some type of group situations that can bring more opportunities, or that can bring some type of growth if you find the right, things to do in a way. So friendships, your audiences can kind of grow in a way. Colleagues, working with colleagues can be very helpful, supportive. You can find that stability, maybe working with these groups of people. Even just spending time with friends, that's just another thing. But that's kind of what is going on and how that can play out and stuff like that. So, and then the next big thing is Venus and Uranus are leaving Taurus and entering your 12th house, but let alone your 12th house, it's entering Gemini. So, Venus and Gemini, it can feel a little lighthearted, little breezy when it comes to just connecting with people. It's entering your 12th house. So, maybe staying a little bit low key when it comes to relationships, or I don't know, maybe, going towards some foreign place and meeting people and then you meet somebody and it feels mentally stimulating when you connect with them or something. I don't know. That could be anything. Focusing on spiritual mechanisms, or I don't know, just kind of staying a little isolated and, secluding yourself when it comes to you don't want to be so open when it comes to relationships. It's very behind the scenes too. So, I don't know, there's a few things that I could say. But you have Uranus entering this the sign of Gemini, which is a huge deal, guys. I mean, you're going to have Uranus here in the next 7 years. This is going to be a huge, for the general vibe, this is a huge ending point, like ending cycle before it gets into your sign in the next 7 years. But you might have to step outside the box when it comes to like doing spiritual stuff, or purging things that you don't need anymore. This is a very, I feel like, or you might have to step outside the box when it comes to like your mental health in a way. Like, how can you heal, your subconscious or just your mentality in some type of way? And this can give you some opportunities to really step outside the box or be innovative or try this or try that. And that could really alter, this mental healing, or this isolation, or whatever it is, this subconscious or behind the scenes kind of vibe that really shakes you up in a way. That could be really interesting too. But I think that's about it though, honestly. So it's a really interesting month for you guys. I really hope that made sense, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, for Leo Rising, so this could be an interesting month for you guys. You have all this fire energy happening here for you guys. So this is really like lighting your fire back up in a way. You're going to have a huge stellium in Aries building up. Right now, the first thing, you have a full moon happening in Libra. So let alone everything basically in your ninth house of, exploration, expanding your horizons in many ways, expanding your perceptions, your higher knowledge. You're putting all of this effort into that. The full moon in Libra, I mean, let alone the third house, is kind of like really reflecting some little details that you might need to be aware of in order to understand this bigger picture of whatever knowledge or situation that you are trying to understand about this time. So yeah, this is kind of just bringing it back down to the basic stuff. Are you making sure that you are, let's just say you're taking some schooling, educational stuff, and this is like, you need to study, you need to know the information first before you can actually go, or even some travel plans. You got to make sure, if you are traveling, you got to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. You got to make sure you have all little details and information before you can, maybe go at it in a way. That's just something else I could say. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of just what's going on. I mean, the full moon in Libra is really nice. It's flowing really good for you guys. So I wouldn't say this is a horrible time. So it's going to be really exciting. And then after this, everything's just starting to just, go into this ninth house for you guys. Mars enters your ninth house. That is going to give you the energizing force to just like go at it and just have all this built up energy to just like maybe go travel, or you have this passion to just learn new higher knowledge or some type of religion stuff or foreign cultures, or some teaching or publishing is going to give you this energizing like desire to go after it in a way. We are ending the Mercury retrograde cycle that at this point as well, that's been going on over the last 2 months, since Mercury's been in Pisces for you in your 8th house. So a lot of, catching up, revising, replanning when it comes to, how you, operate, or how you use, shared resources, paying off some type of debt, or getting a little bit intimate with when it comes to connections that you have, anything like that. It's been a huge transformational, revising type of time for you. Maybe you've had to take care of some type of financial, situations in order for you to actually get past this part. But we're finally done with that, and I just wanted to mention that just to kind of reflect on what's been going on, even if it is, some type of, shared resources or partners, finances that you've been kind of maybe replanning in some type of way, just something like that. Just catching up on that stuff, but we're done with that. After that, everything is just, like I said, following up into this Aries Stellium here. You got Mercury here. It's out of its sign of fall. It's in this, it can have a more sharp wake up kind of energy when it comes to, thinking, communicating, learning, processing information. You have a new moon here happening as well to just really, plant the seeds of this higher perspective, situation of so many layers, that is in your ninth house and stuff like that. So you'll see the remnants and the blossomings over time. But this is a really good time to really just shake up or create something new, or when it comes to your like philosophies, truths, something to do with traveling. Even if Saturn is here, so there might be some, restrictions, or some, you might need to work a little bit hard in order to, gain whatever you want to do in some type of way. So there might feel some heaviness. I mean, even if there's like some legal matters, like something to do with the law, could pop up during this time. Saturn's gonna be here for like 2 years, so I mean, maybe this is a long term like legal stuff that you might have to deal with. I don't know, just an example. That's just the ninth house stuff. So I mean, but yeah, there's a lot of layers happening here. You're gonna understand like what the remnants are over time. It's a huge time, guys. After this, the sun will enter your 10th house of Taurus, and it's in your public image, it's in your public space. This is your most public spot. So find some consistent energy of what's been kind of cooking up in your, Aries 9th house. Now it's in your 10th house, and it's like, okay, now how can I, put this out into the world? How can I find, the knowledge that I've been maybe studying or learning, and actually put it to the, the test of like my actual work and career and something like that type of way. You know what I mean? It is in it is squaring, your first house too. It is Taurus, it is fixed. So maybe, there could be some authoritarian tensions as well in the career life. But I would just say you might want to just put more focus out into the world and what you want to be known for. You want to have a stable reputation, or some consistent, reputation that can help you, throughout this period, I would think. So that can be really cool. After that, it's just Venus and Uranus going into your 11th house of Gemini, which is crazy. I mean, so Venus entering your, 11th house of Gemini, this could bring a little bit more lightheartedness, more friendliness when it comes to, connecting with friends or meeting new people and, new acquaintances that you want to just kind of, chit chat with, and, have some mental, stimulation happening, Venus and Gemini loves to, chat, and have a good time and just have a little fun time. So, I mean, it's in your 11th house as well. So, I mean, this could also, bring some ease and niceness when it comes to like group matters and working with other people. That can, attract more opportunities for you guys, or whatever you're doing at this time. But let alone Uranus leaving your 10th house of Taurus. It's probably been shaking up your whole career life over the last, 7 years. Reflect on that. How have you been, stepping outside the box when it comes to like what you want to be known for in your career, how you've been structuring your life and all those responsibilities. But now Uranus is moving into your 11th house to really shake up this 11th house for you, which is about like, it could help you step outside the box, try new things, be a little bit more inventive when it comes to working with other people, like groups of people. If you're focusing on any lifelong goals, this could be a time to like really, be experimental, and if you be experimental in certain situations, you can have life-altering, situations or outcomes when it comes to this. And it can be sudden shocks. It could be unpredictable stuff just coming out of the blue that really changes the perspective in a way that can be exciting. There can be so many things that we can talk about as Uranus goes through the sign of Gemini over the next couple of years, guys. So I believe that is it. So I really hope that's you enjoyed that, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, for Virgo Rising, so this is going to be your April horoscope for 2026. So what we got going on here, guys. So the first thing happening is there's a full moon happening in your second house of Libra, as much as all of these planets are basically kind of building up to this stellium, this Aries stellium in your 8th house. So, focusing on putting all of these layers in your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, inheritance, taxes, refinancing, soul contracts, psychological connections, a lot of just like debt and loans and other people's resources and money, a partner's finances and all that stuff, joint ventures. These are the things that are in the 8th house. You could also say sex, occult, taboo topics as well, that kind of stuff. That's the 8th house. So, I mean, the full moon happening in your second house is kind of just reflecting. We can just focus on money situations too, or you're connecting your resources, your finances, and you're kind of understanding something of your ownership and how you can link that or connect that towards other people's finances, resources, all that kind of stuff in all that way. And you're finding that balance, or you're being aware of something around this time. That's what I would think. These are money houses as well. So, but yeah, right after that, everything just starts to just lead into this eighth house. This eighth house becomes super big, super just prominent at this time for you guys. Mars enters your eighth house, really just kind of just deepening this passion for any relationship, ventures or actions you want to do with a partner, or maybe kind of cutting out some type of, debt in a way. Mars does represent slicing and, cutting things out. So that could also be a beneficial thing as well. Tackling, all that stuff. But your ruler, I want to mention, your ruler, Mercury, is finishing its retrograde period that it's been in over the last 2 months, being in the sign of Pisces. So you're finally done, going back over information, revising, replanning, kind of catching up on some situations when it comes to relationships, connections, commitments, supporting other people, just how you are linking to just one-on-one connections in general, partnerships as well, all that kind of stuff. So you're finally done with that. You can finally move on into new territory, and Mercury will eventually join the Aries party. I just wanted to mention that. So that's kind of the next big thing happening. So look at this. I mean, Mercury gets into your eighth house, so you kind of get this wake-up call. It's a very energized, fiery kind of tone of you actually working a little bit better than Mercury being in its sign of fall, even though it's in your opposite sign. If it'll feel somewhat better. You have a new moon here. I mean, look at all these planets in your eighth house. So there's so much new creations, new life, new intentions really just starting at this point. And you'll see the blossoms, you'll see the remnants of what has been started, shaken up, shifting this eighth house of like I said, shared resources, other people's money, debts, transformational stuff, loans, inheritance, contributing, joint ventures, taboo topics, occult, intimacy, all that kind of stuff. And you'll see a huge, huge shift from this point. Even though, Saturn, you have Saturn here, so it might feel a little heavy, you might feel a little restricted. You might have to put a little bit more effort over time in this area as well, just to add that as well. So after that, the sun will enter the sign of Taurus in your ninth house. So that kind of, grounds the energy in a bit. That might feel a little better once the planets start to get into an earth sign. It'll be trining your first house of Virgo, guys. So that could be good. I would think, whatever has been kind of cooking up, whatever intentions you've been maybe thinking about during this Aries season period, you move into Taurus and you can find some consistent routine that can help you, I don't know, maybe just, explore or expand new possibilities when it comes to what you've been trying to do. And now it's time to explore. Now it's time to expand. If you want to, I don't know, go towards other places that feel stable, that feel secure, that feel nice and enjoyable, and, that luxurious warmth, I don't know. That's just kind of like getting out. That's the next layer, I would say. But yeah, it's time to explore. That's the sun in the ninth house. So that'll feel good. I think I generally feel like that'll be good for you guys. After that, Uranus and Venus will enter your 10th house of Gemini. So this is a huge deal. So I mean, Venus entering your 10th house of Gemini, I mean, I don't think it'd be that bad. I feel like this could, provide some ease, some enjoyment when it comes to your public life in general, your career life as well. You might want to, maybe try new things out in your career, be a little bit experiment. Oh my God. You might want to, value more experiment. situations. I can't even talk. I'm sorry. When it comes to just trying new things out, if you want to achieve certain things or enjoy things in your career life, or just kind of receive more intellectual stimulation when it comes to just like being out in the public, or I don't know, something like that. But Uranus being in your not in 10th house, moving into your 10th house, this is gonna shift your career like in a huge way. Like let alone Venus trying to make things enjoyable. It's like Uranus goes in here, and then it's just like, okay, now it's time to really step outside the box and be a little bit experimented. I can't even say that word. Inventive, innovative, stepping outside the box when it comes to just like how you want to be known for, what career path do you want to take, or how can you shake up a little bit of a routine, how can you shake up your reputation in a way, I should say. And this is going to be here for a long time. The way you structure your life, the way you are wanting to like achieve these long-term goals, it will be, shaken up in dramatic ways, which can be good or, crazy in a way. So we could talk more about that along the way, but I believe that is it. I know I'm like screwing up with my words. I know Virgos, they need precise things. So I try to be as clean cut as possible. I know. I'm sorry if you're hating on my descriptions, but I'm just kidding. That's about it for the month. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Huge month for all of you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Okay, for Libra Risings, this is your April 2026 forecast horoscope, whatever you want to call it. So the first thing happening is you have the full moon happening in your first house, and it's reflecting all of these planets in your seventh house. So you have so many layers, a lot of energies focusing on other people, partnerships, and, trying to just, this is the time to just really connect, you and other people together and find some balance and find some peace and, find some middle ground in a way. So this could also just, illuminate some personal, feelings or some information that you weren't aware of about yourself. The first house is about you. It's your body. It's your image. It's your approach to life in some type of way. So even if like you are trying to support other people, or you connect with other people and try to just I don't know, do all this stuff with other people, this is just trying to find some balance. How can you put yourself a part of these other people? How can you connect with these other people and bring some some balance when it comes to just any situation between you and your relationships, you and any clients, any commitments, any support, any like partnerships, any of that stuff. How you unionize other people. How can you show up into these situations in a way, I would think. So this can play out any other way too, but after this, everything just starts to build up into this Aries Stellium in your seventh house. So your seventh house gets really packed at this point. Mars enters your seventh house of really giving you the energizing force to really, link up with these people, do something with a partner, do something with other people. This is good for partnerships as well, like putting a lot of energy towards any, tackling goals, tackling any, doing activities with some, other people. You also have like, Saturn and Neptune here still in your seventh house. So there might feel some type of heaviness when it comes to relationships or contracts, or some new responsibilities when it comes to like other people, or how you are connecting with other people and how it, really connects with you or some type of way. I don't know, something like that. But a lot of seventh house stuff building up. You also have the Mercury retrograde ending its post-shadow period at this point. So we are finally done with that. That's been going on for the last 2 months in the sign of Pisces. We're finally free at that. Now Mercury's going to end up, joining the Aries party. So whatever you've been, revising, going back over, relearning, replanning when it comes to sixth house themes, routines in work, routines in your health situations, trying to get your health in check, trying to just kind of go with the flow and see what is actually good. And even if it has felt uncomfortable, maybe you have found better routines for, your physical health, how you can operate when it comes to services in general. That's just something that I could also say. And then, like I said, Mercury and the moon join the party. So yeah, this is a huge, like, another wake-up call, having all these planets get out of Pisces and then into Aries. This is very energizing. This is very forceful. This is very new life, new creations is going to be, starting up at this time. And when it comes to relationships, contracts, anything to do with marriage, that's just a possibility too. You do have Saturn here, so if you are thinking about getting married in some type of way, you can see that possibly happening. I'm just putting that out there. Supporting other people, partnerships, just, like I said, just relationships in general. It is a lot of new stuff happening for you guys. So you'll see the remnants happening as we go through, the rest of the year and over time. So after that, the sun will enter Taurus, your 8th house. So that is just kind of just grounding this energy that's been kind of brewing up. Now it's time to find some consistency, some cruising when it comes to, this is getting a little deeper into these relationships. It is the 8th house. 8th house is another relationship house as well, but this is also entering a money house, a shared resources kind of house. Partnering up or linking your, two finances, or supporting your partner's financial, situation in some type of way. Maybe starting to, focus on how we can find more stability when it comes to, linking two finances together, or, just to maybe, balance out, some debt issues or some loans that you've been trying to maybe, tackle, something like that. I mean, get a little bit more intimate. You can, this can be a very transformational time. If you want to go out and to do some joint ventures with a partner, this would be a great time to do that. A lot of inheritance is in the 8th house as well. So I don't know, maybe you'll start to inherit some certain things as well. I don't know, something like that too. So that's something that I can mention. And then I think after that, it's just Venus and Uranus moving into your 9th house of Gemini. That's going to be really a huge, huge shift. Venus and Gemini, this could, this can feel a little bit more lighthearted or very curious about, foreign things, like foreign topics or educational, higher perspective, any of that stuff, like exploring and expansion, can feel very attractive, and you might want to value that kind of stuff during that time. So a lot of traveling. I would just say, like, this will be the time to explore and stuff like that. So if you want to, like, go out there and, learn some foreign cultures, or meet some foreign people, that can also, give you that mental stimulation or that valuing and stuff like that. But Uranus moving into Gemini for the next, like, 7 years, that is gonna bring some alternating situations when it comes to literally expanding in many ways your perceptions, exploring the world, traveling or some type of way, learning some higher knowledge or teaching philosophies. Something to do with legal matters is going to be, like, shifted in the most maybe sudden, shocking way possible. So it's going to be a huge journey about that, a huge shift. So step outside of the box and you'll see some alternating things happen when it comes to your beliefs about the world or your world's perspectives or something like that. I don't know. We can talk more about that, but that is about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you in the next month. For Scorpio Risings, this is going to be your April 2026 forecast. So the first thing happening is you have a full moon happening in your 12th house in Libra. All of these planets are in your 6th house of, like, your daily routines, the daily grind, how you are operating any services or systematic ways of, just doing what's necessary for, making a living or something like that. This can also be about, trying to keep your health in check in a way. It is the physical health house as well. So that's kind of another thing that I could say. Having the moon over here in your 12th house in Libra, this is, like, about mental health. This is about the isolation part of yourself, your seclusion, behind the scenes type of house. So even if you are, wanting to, do a lot of, physical activities or services, you're trying to make sure your health is in check, you have a lot of, heaviness, or your to-do list might be huge in a way. And I don't know, it could be huge, but the full moon is actually trying to reflect, some inner peace in a way, inner, balance, I would think. It is in the 12th house. So usually I like to say whenever the moon is in a full moon is in the 12th house, it's kind of like shining a light in this attic, this dark room. You're kind of seeing all the cobwebs and all the stuff that you don't need anymore. So this could be a time of cleaning out the closets, purging out some old addictions in some type of way. I don't know, something like that. This can actually help and benefit your health if you do the right things and right steps, I would think. So yeah, that could be a big deal. Next big thing is, your ruler Mars is leaving Pisces and entering your 6th house. I mean, Mars likes to be in the 6th house. It's fine. It finds its joy being in the 6th house. That can also give you a little bit of more extra energy, as well as Mars being energized already in its home sign of Aries. That can feel good. This can help you, tackle the right situations, tackle your to-do list and stuff like that. But you have this Aries stellium, this little Aries party happening. Everything is literally building up to this Aries area for you. But before that, another thing, Mercury's ending its post-retrograde shadow period at this point, so that can feel relieving in some type of way. You had to go, Mercury's been in Pisces for 2 months right now. It did a whole retrograde thing. You had to maybe revise, replan, go back over, situations, catch up on certain thoughts, ideas that's been going on maybe in your 5th house of like creativity, some pleasures, something to do with children, your bucket list, what's inspiring you, something to do with like romance and trying to, catch up on certain things or whatever. But I just wanted to add that too, because that's important. And then Mercury and following the moon build up this huge Aries party, Aries Stellium happening in your 6th house. So there's a lot of like big shifts happening in the way you, I would think you serve other people, serve yourself, kind of shift your way of organizing or creating a system that can, feel very energized, but also you might have to like slow it down and, find a kind of a new way of doing things, like new way of doing the daily grind or something like that. But in the general vibe, I mean, like this, work house, the way you are the way you are organizing or creating your systems will eventually unfold over time. This is about, like I said, health. This is a physical health house, so make sure this is. I mean, you can even see, changes in your health from this point on. If you want to, kind of start something new, and try to get a little healthier or something, like you start doing some fitness training, you start working out, or you start doing, I don't know, better nutritional diets that can actually really increase and benefit your operating system of working or servicing and doing all this stuff like that. I mean, new leases can be signed at this point. It can be anything, like, honestly. So that's what I would basically say. And then everything after that just starts to go into your Taurus 7th house. So that's going to start to focus on other people, your relationships. You can find some stability when it comes to linking with other people, or even if there's some oppositions happening, some tensions, you might have to create some compromising, middle ground situations when it comes to other people. But the main focus is really just kind of finding some consistency with relationships, with partnering up with people, any contracts that you want to maybe, if there's any contracts you want to sign or kind of go after, this would be a great time to find that stability and security if there's anything that you want to do around that time too. So after that, Venus and Uranus are going into your 8th house of Gemini. So, I mean, let alone, Uranus been in your 7th house of Taurus for 7 years. Now it's going to be in your 8th house for 7 years, I should say. So, but Venus entering your 8th house in Gemini, that could just be a little bit more lightheartedness when it comes to, getting a little intimate with people in your relationships, kind of finding some intellectual stimulation or intellectual connections when you are it's like having deeper conversations with people, and you're starting to value that. Or it is in a money house. This is about shared resources, so maybe you can start to value more resources from other people. You can start to attract all that stuff. It can be fun. This can help your financial stuff in some type of way. So inheritance, shared resources, like assets, debts, loans, taboo topics, occult stuff. That's going to be what's attractive and something like that in some type of way. But yeah, Uranus entering your 8th house is really going to alter this, money house as well. This way of using shared resources, this way of psychological connections and intimacy with a partner or just anybody in general. Any refinancing or some contracts, financial contracts is you might, I don't know, there could be some alternating shifts happening for you guys. A lot of transformational stuff. We can talk more about it along the way, but that is a huge deal for you guys. So I believe that is it, and I will see you in the next video. For Sagittarius Risings, I'm with you. I'm a Sag Rising myself, so let's get into our April 2026 horoscopes. So the first thing happening is we got a full moon happening in Libra in our 11th house. That is like our house of like the audience, the house of friendships, the house of community and community in general. Basically groups of people, colleagues, groups of, like I said, groups, alliances, hopes, our lifelong dreams and all that kind of stuff. We have this huge Aries Stellium kind of building up. So there's a lot of focus on, 5th house themes of creativity. This is like what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be experimental and try a new, look for this, my set, basically. That's kind of what I've been, kind of doing. But that can be an example of my whole setup right here. Hobbies, like that's another thing too. Hobbies, passions, inspiration, dating, bucket list stuff, your desires, romance, conception, fertility, a lot of just fertile energy happening at this point. And I would think you were just kind of like showing off. Let's just say we are performing in some type of way, like what I do on YouTube or any other thing. And then the full moon in Libra is just kind of like reflecting your audience of these people that are being, you're being aware of like your new audience or some new friendship, new connections, and all that kind of stuff. So that could be interesting. That could really, attract more people into whatever situations we are doing for ourselves, because we are gonna continue this Aries stellium building up throughout the month. We have Mars entering our 5th house. That's the next big thing, and that's gonna really give us the energizing force to really tackle these plans and just to go at it and put full force into all this stuff. And then after that we have the Mercury's finishing its post shadow retrograde at this point, and we've been kind of going back over certain situations in our to do with our 4th house, our living situation, our domestic life, something to do with like family or just how we nurture ourselves in general, and kind of just stuff around the home, how we do things around the home and how we find, all that kind of stuff, whatever. But we're finally done with that. We're finally done, going back over, catching up on old information, catching up on certain plans that we want to at least tackle over. We're finally done with that. And then we are heading towards, this huge Aries stellium happening in our 5th house, guys. So look at this. This is huge for us. A lot of new creations, I would say, like for a very fertile time. This is gonna create like the new life for along the way over time. This is a huge deal for us, for everybody in general. But yeah, new life, new creations. If you are thinking about some type of children or whatever, and kind of happens around this time, you'll see that happening over time. So children, even if your hobbies, that could be your children in a way. Like this is kind of, I don't know, you could say my my child. I don't know, something like that. It's just a hobby. A lot of inspirational stuff. I mean, maybe new romances pop up at this time, or you start to, I don't know, appears. I don't know. It could be anything too, but many things can happen during this time. We do have Saturn in our fifth house too, to really, I would think, help us discipline ourselves when it comes to, if we want to put, these hobbies, be more disciplined when it comes to, like, I don't know, our creative side, our creative performances. We need to, like, really set the bar and kind of, I don't know, kind of change, kind of just like, create some new life in some type of way. I don't know. It's just, there's so many layers. You got Mercury here, Neptune here, Mars, Saturn, the new moon happening in Aries, and then Chiron's here as well. There's so much newness happening at this point, guys, for us, and it's a huge deal. So it's going to be interesting to see this unfold, like I said, over time. So what do you want to do? What do you want to create for your performance? What like, if you do want to start a hobby, like, this would be the time to do it. Like, just go for it. You know what I mean? So I love it. I absolutely love it. So after that, then the sun will enter Taurus and enter our sixth house. So maybe whatever, like, creations that we have been cooking up, thinking about, this will be the time to actually find that consistent routine into putting it, putting the actual grind into putting the work into something useful in a way. Putting that routine into our maybe systematic way of doing something. The sixth house is about, the daily thing that we, the daily work that we need to do in order to, make ends meet. But yeah, I would just think, like, the Aries Taurus kind of shift is really just, finding that, getting grounded and finding that consistent path routine that can actually help what we want to do over time. So physical health stuff, something about leases could change, or something if you want to sign on a new lease here. Just the way you are servicing other people, servicing yourself, and just finding some type of stability during this month. And then after that, Venus and Uranus are leaving the sixth house and entering our seventh house. And this is going to be huge for our relationships, guys. I mean, having Venus here in our opposite sign, I wouldn't think it's going to be the worst situation, even though it's opposing us. I think it can be really stimulating, especially for us. Gemini and Sagittarius can really just be a wildfire, and just it can be so enjoyable, maybe linking up to new relationships, or just making some type of relationship connection can feel enjoyable in a way. I would think that could be really exciting. Stimulation, mental conversations, linking up and partnering up with people can really just feel good. But having Uranus here in the sign of Gemini, it's going to be here for the next 7 years. This is going to really alter our, relationships in general. This can really alter, new contracts, new partnerships, I don't know, new commitments, and supporting other people, or the way, I don't know, this can really help us step outside the box and be more innovative when it comes to just linking with other people, and how, like, maybe other people can actually benefit, some situations with us in a way. This is going to be really an interesting transit over the next many years. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I think that's basically it, and we'll see you in the next month. For Capricorn Risings, you have a full moon happening in your 10th house of Libra. So this is just really illuminating something out into the public that maybe you weren't aware of. This is the public image, or what you are known for, like your reputation type of house. This could represent a career path. The way you are structuring your life, your responsibilities, your long-term goals. Something might, be illuminated that you weren't aware of at this point, which, can create a little bit more peacefulness in a way, some type of balance, I would think. I mean, you have a lot of stuff, a lot of planets cooking up, building up this little Aries party, stellium in your 4th house. A lot of stuff is going on in your home life. What is going on in your home life, guys, at this time? So, are you, you might be maybe spending time at home, maybe doing a lot of more things at home. Maybe you have your ruler Saturn in this 4th house that might feel somewhat, restricted or somewhat heavy, or just these new responsibilities when it comes to your home life, I would think. So there could be a lot of new things happening. You know, are you moving? Are you trying to build a house? Are you trying to be more responsible in your home, or the way you are trying to, you know, build a firm foundation? That can be Saturn in the fourth house. So this is going to be a slow build up, even if, you know, even like, is your home stable? If not, you're going to be tested or kind of like restricted, or you're going to be challenged in some type of way to actually build or find a more solid, you know, living situation or whatever, or location. So that could be something that you could be aware of. And then basically, we just head towards this Aries Stellium happening throughout the month. I mean, Mars enters your fourth house, and that's just going to give you the energizing force to really maybe do a lot more things around the home. Even if you have to, like, let's just say you have to move and you have to be more, you know, strategic in where you need to go or what you need to do around the living situation, or taking care of your family or something like that. I don't know. We are ending the Mercury post retrograde shadow period at this point too. So whatever's been going back, whatever you have been going back and forth over, catching up on old information, catching up and revising situations and plans, you know, this is the time that we're finally, you know, you're finally done with all that stuff. It's been in your third house. Maybe this is just something, some type of communication style that you've had to, you know, kind of go back over, learn some basic information or some type of information, or trying to get your, let's just say, even if it's like something to do with transportation, you've been trying to, you know, adjust your mindset, or, you know, maybe fix a car or something, or some car issues maybe you've dealt with. I don't know. This could be something that is possible. But yeah, I mean, even just interacting with people, you might have just changed in some type of way, siblings, relatives, all that kind of stuff, your local environment, the way you are perceiving and processing some stuff, you know, going back over all that kind of stuff that's been going on. So we're finally done with that. And then Mercury and the new moon in Aries will join the Aries party in your fourth house. And like I said, like, this could really alter, this could really shake up, this could really change some type of situation when it comes to family, home life, something to do with just your roots and your how you are nurturing yourself. A lot of stuff is just so many layers is shifting your, you know, your subterranean bottom of the chart, you know, type of area of life for you guys. So I wouldn't fear anything. I mean, there's just a lot of changes that could be brewing and cooking up in your home life. So kind of just understand that, even if this is already happening for you, and then this is like, I don't know, but you'll see like a lot of like new life, new creations, new intentions happening, unfolding over time after this period of life, this period of time, and you'll look back and be like, oh, that was kind of what was going on and all that stuff. So after that, the sun will get into, hold on, I need to adjust this chart. The sun will get into Taurus, and then that'll help you, you know, get more grounded, get more stable, get more, you know, find some consistent routine when it comes to what's been going on in this Aries energy for you guys. But it's in your fifth house, so this is just, you know, finding some enjoyment in a way. It's in a fun house. What is fun to you, start surrounding yourself around that. And even if it feels some type of, you want to feel more stable, more comfort, more enjoyable, go mingle with friends, go, you know, do a hobby, you know, do something that just feels fun. That'll just kind of bring that groundedness back to you, and it'll feel probably good for the most part. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of creativity stuff to do with children. If you got children, maybe do some activities with your children, bucket list stuff, passions, inspirational stuff, what you're desired. A very fertile time for the general vibe, I would say. It could be romantic if you have a partner or something like that. Or like I said, go mingle with people, meet new people or something like that. So that's just kind of examples. I believe the last thing is Venus and Uranus are entering your sixth house of Gemini. So, I mean, Venus, let alone going into your sixth house, you know, she can bring a little bit more ease, more enjoyment when it comes to just like your systems, your routines, maybe, you know, something to do with like enjoying working with coworkers, or just finding some benefits even when it comes to like health stuff as well too. So I mean, Venus is a beneficial planet, so there can be some beneficial stuff when it comes to your physical health. You're trying new nutrients, new supplements, just trying to get your maybe body, your physical health, your routines, the way you are operating in a beneficial way and like in a better way, I would think. And I mean, even adding the layer of Uranus in your sixth house is really going to alter these routines in a slow 7-year period. So you're going to see a lot of changes when it comes to the daily grind, how you are making ends meet, how you are, taking care of your physical health, maybe trying experimental ways of like shifting your way of just working in general, I would think, and just all that kind of stuff. So that could be a really interesting thing. That is it. We will see you in the next video. Excuse me. I gotta get a drink of water. I've been talking almost 2 hours. Okay. Let me go back to this. Actually, hold on. Okay, for Aquarius Rising, so this is your astrological monthly forecast for April 2026. So the first thing happening is we got a full moon happening in your 9th house over here in Libra. So this is a full moon. Something is coming to the light. Something is being illuminated at this point. And it's in your 9th house as of exploring new perceptions, expanding your horizons, or kind of understanding new beliefs, new political views, more just philosophies, or just foreign information that you might have not been aware of at this point. Because everything else is in your 3rd house of Aries, building up to this stellium happening throughout this month, and it will continue as we go through this month. So it's a lot of layers happening in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is about your local environment, your local neighborhood. This can represent, siblings, early stages of like learning, your childhood, schooling and stuff like that. It can be about interactions. It can be about your communication styles, social media. Maybe you'll be a little bit more active on social media in some type of way. Relatives is represent of the 3rd house as well. Writing projects, devices, your daily commune, rituals, your local social life and stuff like that, but also like transportation as well too. So there's a lot of things kind of changing, and new life is really being altered at this point, and just new situations are really being new information is really kind of getting thrown into your face. And the full moon in the 9th house in Libra is trying to create some balance when it comes to like understanding like this little information and how you can actually expand that out into the world or something like that. I don't know, or learn something or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, after this, we kind of just, build up this, we start to build up the Aries stellium happening here. Mars will eventually enter Aries. This will give you the energizing force to really tackle a lot of things. A lot of your commune might get a little bit more, like your to-do list of your commune might get a little bit, overdue in a way. But no, I wouldn't say that. I would just say like this is going to really give you this mental, active, energy force that you'll want to like really go after, do stuff around your local environment or something like that. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Mars will eventually go over this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, but, having Saturn here might feel a little heavy when it comes to like, restrictions in communications, trying to discipline your mental side, or discipline some type of local, travel, or some situation, some learning situation you might have to maybe work a little bit extra hard on. But for the most part, I feel like when Mars gets here, you might feel a little energized when it comes to just getting stuff done around, around your neighborhood, or just, I don't know, connecting with people and feeling just energized when it comes to like, spending time with relatives or siblings, or I don't know, it could be anything. We are finishing the Mercury post-retrograde shadow at this point, so that's really good. Whatever situations you've been maybe going back over, rethinking about, catching up on old plans and situations to do with your second house. And this is about, financial stuff, possessions, your priorities, what you are valuing, your work ethic, security in general, like personal security and personal resources. Just trying to get everything back in order, and you're finally done with that. Mercury's been in Pisces for 2 months at this point, so I mean, this has been a long period of time of just trying to just go with the flow and just see what happens, in a way. But yeah, that's kind of just like another thing I wanted to add. And then basically Mercury will eventually join the Aries party, as well as the new moon in Aries happening here. So like I said, there's a lot of stuff happening in your third house of Aries, guys. So there's a lot of new life, new creations being formed, intentions are being planted at this point, and you will see the remnants, the blossoms, the outcomes over time as we pass this period of time. And what do you want to do? This can be just new ways of just like connecting with people in your local environment, online, change your communication style in some type of way. I don't know. This can be like anything. A lot of new interest as well, I would think. So, yeah, this can be so many new things happening, guys. So, let's see. I think that's, I don't know what else I would say about that. I mean, let's see, just a lot of, mental connections. There's a lot of like just learning, just new things happening around in your, like, maybe even just around in your local environment. There's a lot of like new inventions, new creations happening for you. But we can talk more about it maybe throughout, the next month or two. But the next big thing is the sun is entering your fourth house of Taurus. This is just finding some consistent way of, what's been brewing up in this Aries energy, but it's actually, it's finding some consistent routine and stuff like that. So, but that's just a side note. The sun entering your fourth house is focusing on your home life. Maybe you're spending a little bit more time at home, doing things around your house, spending time with family more often, or just, trying to just renovate your living situation in some type of way. Your intuition might be a little heightened. So focus on, listen to your gut, listen to your intuition when it comes to anything, any situation. How are you nurturing yourself, and how can you find that nurturing stability, that nurturing comfort when it comes to just your living situation in general. So that's kind of just the whole general vibe of Taurus season 2. So, and then the next big thing is just Venus and Uranus are going into your fifth house of Gemini. So I mean, I was gonna say your ruler. That's not your ruler. Venus in Gemini she loves to be in the fifth house too. I mean, she finds her joy there too. So that can add that layer of enjoyment too. So I mean, it is in the fifth house of fun, pleasures, romance, interactions. A very fertile kind of time. Maybe you're gonna, Venus in Gemini has a very lighthearted type of way of, attracting things or valuing things. You want that mental stimulation, that intellectual stuff, conversations. Like this would be good for like going out, mingling with people, meeting new romantic interests, or meeting new people that, I don't know, it could just be a fun time, to mingle. So, go have a little fun and party a little bit. I'm just kidding. But yeah, Uranus going into your fifth house of Gemini is going to be shifting your, this fifth house. It's going to be alternating, shifting this in a huge way. The way you do fun things, you might have to step outside the box. You might have some shockwaves, some unexpected situations that maybe throw you curveballs that changes your way of having fun, or changing some type of way, like especially if you're doing like a hobby or some entrepreneurs type of stuff. Like this could really give you the opportunity to like, try some new, like experiment with new stuff. I mean, it can be creative financial stuff, kind of building a hobby. If you're thinking about something to do with children, this could be, I guess, something, about that. Children, some type of children or children's situations can really alter your view, your perspective on this. That's another thing. That could be a lot of things. I mean, it's a very, this is gonna be a long period of time with that too. So I think that's about it. I hope that's enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed that. We will see you in the next video. Pisces Rising, let's go. You were the last horoscope we are doing for April 2026. Thank you for being here. So what we got going on for Pisces is we have a full moon happening in your 8th house of Libra over here. It's just reflecting, whatever's been going on. These are money houses for you guys. So let's just kind of figure out, this is the second house is, you have this Aries buildup, Aries Stellium, Aries party happening here, focusing on, your financial, side, your priorities, what you are trying to find stability and security. You're trying to create new life and new ways of just trying something out. You have Saturn here as well, so there might feel some heaviness when it comes to restrictions in your financial stuff, or what you want to value and do all that kind of stuff. But the full moon in 8th house, this is other people's money. This is other people's resources. This is other people's, just whatever, you know what I mean? Other contracts, other intimacy, this is just other people's stuff. So if there's any personal, financial priorities, financial situations that you want to kind of create new life, or if there's any blocks or whatever, even especially having Saturn here, this full moon in Libra can really help balance this energy out. Maybe you have a partner that can actually benefit your financial issues, or you maybe sign a contract with some situation and they can kind of work something out in order to benefit both sides, both parties. That's kind of what I would think about it as, just to help your financial side out too as well. That's something that I would do. Transformational time, psychological stuff, very intimate situations, occult taboo topics could also appear at this point. It's being illuminated of something, but that's what I would really say if there's any financial issues and stuff like that. So after that, everything just starts to build up into this Aries Stellium here. Let me adjust the chart. So Mars gets here, enters your sign of Aries. So this will give you the energizing force to really tackle anything up that you want to tackle, any priority stuff, anything you want to invest into. Your work ethic will probably get a little boost at this time. Anything you want to just to find security in your just try to you're gonna have a lot more energy when it comes to just supporting yourself, doing things around just supporting yourself in general, and just earning the security and building up your savings in some type of way. This is stuff that you need. So you're gonna have a lot of stuff, a lot of different layers are happening when it comes to your ownership, your own resources, and trying to just get your financial stuff is really just cooking up here. There's so many new things happening here, so I can't just explain everything, but there's just so many different layers. I can even just mention, finances, possessions, values, income, money, support, your personal support, priorities, your wealth, investments, security, material goods, work ethic. That is just main, general second house things. So this is going to give you the energizing force to really tackle these things and go after it. You are ending the Mercury post-shadow retrograde that's been in your sign for 2 months. We are almost done with that. So whatever situations you've been kind of revising, relooking at when it comes to your personal information, your just approach to life, any new beginnings, any new your thoughts or whatever personal thoughts. It's you. How do you want to present yourself into the world? How do you want to show up? And has there been some situations that you've been thinking about that you actually went back over and said, I think I'm going to do this about myself or whatever, or change some perspective or look, or how I want to be impressed from others, or how I want to project something about myself. That's kind of been, I feel the Mercury retrograde in your first house too. So, and then Mercury basically leads towards this Aries Stellium, as well as the new moon happening in your second house. Like I said, guys, there's just a lot of things brewing up in your financial house. There could be huge financial opportunities starting at this point, and you'll see that over time. What has started, all these intentions and beginnings of stuff. This is gonna be okay. You'll see the remnants. You'll see the outcome of what's been going on at that point too. So guys, If you want to make some changes when it comes to I don't know, your personal finances and stuff like that. You want to just experiment with new things. I would think this would be the perfect time to do that too. So hopefully that can benefit your financial stuff or just your ownership in general. So anything can happen, guys. And then after that, the sun will go into Taurus, your third house, to kind of just stable your energy out, get your feet back on the ground, and find some consistent energy to, cruise and, kind of focus on, other things. And that's your local environment. Maybe, whatever's been going on in your second house, maybe you actually want to, kind of explore and, learn new things in a way. I don't know, even if it is like some financial attractions or connecting with close people or close friendships, and you want to kind of like link together and just, I don't know, explore some but find some like stability in your local environment in a way. Spending time with siblings, spending time with relatives, whatever feels good. Or you want to go on social media, you want to be more active on social media. I don't know. These are just things that can feel stable and, enjoyable for the most part. This could just give you a more stable, daily commune, or just, I don't know, just smelling the flowers, you know what I mean? Just going out into your local environment and just, finding some good warm-hearted things. I don't know, like this could be warm-hearted situations, I don't know, in your local environment or something like that. I don't know. That's probably something. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. We'll see. So the next big thing as we end the month, Venus and Uranus going into your fourth house of Gemini. So I mean, Venus in the fourth house, I like to say is a great time to renovate around your home. Kind of just learn some new information, or just kind of just get a little cozy and just do things around the home, focus. And I mean, like, even just connecting with, your family, or like decorating, like I said, around your home, or I don't know, just kind of but it's in Gemini. So, I mean, there's a mental stimulation that you can find some value into when it comes to, doing things around your home in a more mental, intellectual way or something like that. Or I don't know, or like kind of guiding your intuition through like your mind, body, I don't know, like I'm kind of confused just even talking about it. But yeah, no. But I would just say, like, if there's any, situations that you want to value when it comes to like around your home, you want to be more, I don't know, like this is just attracting more intellectual, what else could I say? Like lighthearted, more just like a variety of stuff. I don't know. There could be so many like variety of stuff that you want to like really maybe surround yourself in your home or something like that. I don't know, something like that. I hope that makes sense, guys. But you add Uranus to the mix of your fourth house in Gemini for the official. Uranus is officially moving into your fourth house of Gemini, and this is going to really alter your living situation, your family, your home life, the way you use your intuition. Step outside the box when it comes to, I mean, I would just say your living situation in general over the next 7 years is going to be shifted in the most drastic way too. So anything can happen. But I believe I would just add, Venus in the fourth house, just making things a little bit lighthearted and enjoyable when it comes to your home life, or just spending time with family. I think that's a better situation or explanation to just talk about. But yeah, having Uranus in your fourth house for the next 7 years is really going to alter your life, alter your home life, alter your family, alter your way of finding that foundation or something like that. Even if your foundation might feel a little, on shaky ground, I feel like it's going to be a very just stimulating kind of way of the way you want to live. I don't know. I'm just spitting out stuff too. So that's kind of how we end the month and, end the video. But it's going to be an interesting month, guys. And like, we'll talk more about this over time, but we'll see you guys in the next month. But yeah, I mean, April's interesting, guys. There's so much newness happening here. It's one of the most wildest months ever, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed that. That was really cool to talk about. Yeah, let me get back to like the actual April thing. So yeah, I hope you like my new setup too. I think I can work, good with this too. So I mean, yeah, that's your forecast for April 2026, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share, subscribe if you are still here. But I just, yeah, what newness do you want to bring out into the world? I mean, there's even though there's some crazy things that are, happening around the world and stuff like that, but just in your personal life, ignore all that stuff if you have to. And this is really just, we're getting a little bit more deeper into, the next part of our lives and stuff like that. And whatever situation we are kind of entering as we go through this, we are entering the new astrological new year, getting a little bit deeper into this, huge Aries Stellium, guys. I'm telling you, there is just going to be so many new layers and new life being created at this time, and we are gonna we're gonna see the remnants, the like over time and stuff like that. So it's a huge month, guys. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm really excited about talking about this, guys, too. So I guess I'll leave you with that. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, support my Patreon, you can do that, $10 a month if you want, or just join for free for the written horoscopes. Follow me on Spotify. Just follow me on anything. Come join the TikTok lives. I've been trying to be experimental with that stuff too, and trying new things out. I'm always just trying new things out for the most part. So I think that's it. I love and appreciate all of you. You have no idea how blessed I am to be doing this and continuing this. I can't wait to talk about May. May's going to be an interesting month too. April, May are going to be really good months. Fast moving motions, no retrograde. I mean, we have Pluto retrograde in May, but even just for April, it's a very fast paced month, sort of. But yeah, there's so much more I can talk about. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. I will see you guys in May. Have a good rest of your day, guys. We'll see you guys.